Welcome, everyone, to the Islanders Never Say Die podcast. I'm your host, TJ, and with me here, as always, is our NHL analyst and expert, the grumpy old man. They say there's no shame to his game because he's always the same.
That's me.
Grumpy, how are you doing on this fine Saturday evening?
Oh, just hunky-dory. How about you?
Hunky-dory?
Hunky-dory. That means good.
Yes. With your old nomenclature there, Grumpy. Hunky-dory. Yeah, I can't complain, Grump. You know, I don't know, man. Not too much Islanders news to talk about. I made a little mistake today. We're running late. We're running late. I thought we had a guest on the show, but it's really Wednesday. So I made a little oopsie. I made a mistake. So sorry about the tardiness. This is the only reason I've ever been late. I think this is the first time I've ever been late to the show, Grumpy.
So, I mean, the only one that you have an excuse that you could lose is that you're a screw up. And that's why, because you didn't know what day of the week it was, when a guest was coming on. Once again, shoddy preparedness from you, right? I mean, that's what we can pretty much say.
Sure, I guess we could say shoddy preparation on my side.
As opposed to just laziness in the previous, when you're late every other podcast.
No, it's not laziness, Grumpy.
And here's the thing. You're really not late because this is the TJ 8 o'clock time, which is 8:30.
Is that what it is, huh?
You're always a half hour late, always.
Okay. I'll refute you on that point, but nonetheless, for those of you who are new to the channel, welcome. This is a twice a week All Islanders podcast. And again, we talk anything and everything Islanders on the show. We go live every single Wednesday and Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
8:30.
So if you're new to the channel, there's a few things that we encourage. We implore you to do. We suggest that you subscribe on YouTube, like on Facebook, and follow on Twitter. It's the best way to make sure you don't miss out on any of the New York Islanders content and action. We also do have an all sports podcast called TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. That can be found in the link in the description below or as a featured page here on a YouTube channel. And what that show is just myself, Grumpy, and the magnificent Son X. We're just talking all things sports. We talk NHL, NBA, NFL, college athletics, MLB, world football. We talk anything and everything sports on that show. It takes place every single Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and every single Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can find it right down here as TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. We just had our 200th show on that channel, Grumpy.
Wow.
Wow is right. Oh, man. How time flies. But it's been, I guess over 2 years we've done that show then for Grump. We've been doing this Islanders podcast now for
It's been over 2
years?
years. The first TJ and the Grumpy Old Man show we did was Ohio State versus Michigan, whenever that
No, it
was.
was not. It was a draft. You're wrong. So
Oh, that's right. It was a draft. Yeah, that's right.
it was about a little over 2.5 years ago. And for
Okay.
this channel here, I think, been doing this show for over 5 years now.
Long time.
Over 5.5 years. So we're coming up. We'll hit our 6-year anniversary sometime soon. Just talking to the Islander fans who want to hear the truth, want to hear the message.
That's right. We're like voices in the wilderness, if you will.
You know, Grumpy, but I'd like to think that more and more individuals, Grump, wouldn't you say, are starting to see the cracks and the flaws in the current team. You've converted me, Grumpy. I used to be extremely optimistic about the team's future, but over time, I don't know if it's you wearing me down or me seeing the light. Things have changed a bit.
Like with most things, I tell you how things are, but you don't want to listen. And then eventually, you're saying, oh, geez, he was right. I thought he was wrong, but no, he's right.
Yeah. Okay. Sure there, Grump.
So do you really think that people are coming around to our way of thinking? You would think our numbers would be higher then.
I don't think it matters too much about the numbers. I think that people listen, and I think it's kind of like sometimes it's like when you're laying down crops and you're trying to plant some seeds. Some things sprout up immediately. Sometimes it takes, Grump, 15, 20, sometimes even a full month. And you're like, holy shit, I planted this about a month ago and everything else was popping up. And now, hey, I've got a new sapling that's on its way up. And sometimes it takes individuals a little longer. And they're like, aha. So yeah, I think more and more people are coming around to the thought process that the team is flawed, that our general manager continues to roll back the same exact lineup, the same exact roster, and thinking that that's going to be our ailment and our magical elixir to help us win a Stanley Cup. And it's just truly not. So I do think more people are coming around to that school of thought.
So do you feel like we're like Johnny Appleseed? Just go around preaching the gospel of the New York Islanders suckitude, and people are starting to buy it. Our Islander trees are coming up rotten. Is that what you're saying? Is that what they think?
No, Grumpy. They're coming up with, I wouldn't say they're coming up rotten. The apples maybe that are falling to the ground off of the trees on Lou Ron Hubbard's yard maybe are starting to come up rotten. But I think that there's good things that happen from that, right? There are seeds in those apples that fall down, that rot, and those find a way into the ground, and they birth ourselves new trees, new life, and a way going forward. So,
aren't you the little horticulturist today?
I try, Grumpy. I try. I will say this. We're in the dog days of summer. We talk about new topics to discuss. There's things we're going to discuss today that I think are important to discuss. But these are definitely some slower days in summertime. So going forward, we're going to make sure we've got more guests on the show there too, to have a diversity of opinions on the show. You know what I'm almost thinking, Grumpy? Should today be a call-in show?
Well, what the hell? Why not?
Okay.
Nothing else to talk about.
I'm fine. I'm happy making today a call-in show, even though it's not listed or labeled as one. We could go ahead and do that.
Hey, this is Johnny Appleseed. You're speaking to Johnny Appleseed over here.
We're speaking to Johnny Appleseed, Grumpy. Oh God. Well, let's look at some comments here first. There, TJ is late. Says ye right to pops. Brian Jennings says good evening, lads. What's up, Brian? How are you? JP says the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League has banned fighting. Holy shit! At times, that has been a really tough league, and at times soft as well. Now it's destined to be a bit soft, I think.
Yeah, they've been soft for quite a while now.
And we talked a little bit about this decision on our Thursday show on TJ and the Grumpy Old Man.
That's why it's imperative that you tune in to the TJ and the Grumpy Old Man show, because hockey stuff comes up. Everything comes up. We talk about
Zach. A lot of New York sports teams.
Talk about Zach Wilson's mom. We talk about the New York Giants, the Jets. Everything comes up. Fan fights.
Yes, everything does come up. Yeah,
TJ's sports hygiene habits. Everything comes up.
the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League, and I was talking to Grumpy about this. I'm like, this is how it starts. You can tell how it's going to slowly migrate its way into the NHL. Oh shit! You know what I forgot to mention before I lose this thought? It's almost like it's slowly going to start migrating its way into the NHL. It starts off with one junior hockey league banning fights, and then it's going to slowly migrate to the entire CHL. Then it's going to be all minor league hockey. And then at that point, you've got a whole bunch of people when they make it to the NHL who don't know how to fight. And Grumpy, as you had brought up there, they don't know how to fight. And then on that side, people don't know how to fight. It just it's going to whittle its way out of the sport. And then as you see less and less fights, even though now fights are drastically down, when you talk about historically, the historic amount of fights that we've had in years past, you're just going to see that fighting is banned eventually one day in the NHL. That's how it starts, and then they'll take more physicality out of the game for the protection of the players, and it's going to be a far different sport from what it is currently.
It's already a far different sport from what it was 30 years ago.
And that's what I'm saying. It's 30 more years from now. It's going to be, I won't say unrecognizable, but it is going to be a vastly different sport than it is currently.
I don't think it'll change much from what it is now. There is no physicality in the game now.
I'm saying there's going to be no hitting one day in the NHL. None.
There's hardly any now.
I'm saying no hitting. Absolutely none. The same way the women's game is, where you cannot check. You can't. That's how this is what's going to be legislated in the men's game as well. It's going to be due to player safety and everything like that's just like the same thing I think with the NFL. The NFL makes so much money. I think they're going to try to hold on a little longer. But I do think long term, it's not, they're going to have to change up the way things are played there, or they're going to change up. I don't think they should, but they will. And it's going to be the same thing with hockey. They start by banning fights. Do you remember when COVID had hit? They did that they did that trial run with no physical contact, no body checking, no fighting, and they were kind of thrown up in arms. That's the little seed that they planted. 10, 15 years down the road, there'll be no body checking in the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. And at that point, then
so in other words,
all the way to the CHL, and then there will be no body checking in the NHL.
So in other words, they're just going to turn it into women's hockey.
The physicality of the game, sure. Yeah, I could see that.
Okay, no one watches women's hockey. So, friends and family do, but, no one who likes competition. So you're saying that the NHL is going to become a women's sport.
Well, I'm just saying they're taking the physicality out of the game. Just like I think they're going to do the same, where they're going to try to take more and more physicality out of the NFL. That's what's coming. I think I've mentioned this a million times on the other show, on the TJ and the Grumpy Old Man show. It's as simple as long term, we look at things where we can date back and like the gladiator games. How the hell did that happen? They just put people in a rink and just started having each other fight to the death. How is that considered normal place? How is that considered something that was viable there for the population and citizens? And it's gonna be looked the same exact way of the sports. Barbaric time periods where you rammed and battered each other's heads in and hit each other with head-to-head combat all the time like that. That type of shit's going to be slowly weeded out too, Grumpy.
They might do that, but then you know what? Something's going to come back. Something will come back, and because people thirst for that. You know what they don't like? They don't like sitting around look at that. Isn't that cute? No. People like violence. They like physicality. They like it. That's why the NFL is so popular. They want to see somebody get hit and lit up. That's what they watch for. I mean, and people, and I've said it on this show, on other shows before, it's like, hey, if there's a hockey fight, everybody stands up.
Okay. And you'll be dead before it happens, Grumpy, so you don't have to worry too much about it. This is many years down the road. This might not even be in my lifetime. This is many years down the road. It starts with these little tiny seeds.
I love how you do that. I love how you do that. You move it. Well, it might not happen it certainly won't happen in your lifetime, Grumpy Old Man. Might not even happen in mine. So no one can say, "Oh, well, TJ, you're wrong." You say, "Well, you don't know what it's going to be like 150 years from now." I will, neither do you. You'll be dead by then.
Yes, I will be dead in 150 years from now. That's correct, Grumpy Old Man. Yes, but they banned fighting in the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. If you fight, you get disciplinary action additionally. So, wow, I guess it's going to be like, I wonder how many fights there are going to be in the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. I have to figure there's going to be a few, but I wonder how steep the penalties are going to be when they start.
When there's no fighting, you know what you get? more sneaky play. That's what you get because there's no repercussions to being a cheapy, like a Bobby Clark type player. You know, a guy going to hit you with the little stick from behind, little shot to the ribs. Nope, can't fight. What's going to happen? I mean, what happens when somebody runs somebody, really runs them? Oh, sorry, can't do anything.
Just got to get really angry and start banging your stick on the ice.
In the NHL, they had none of that cheap shit used to go on because if it did, you took a beating. Okay. That's just the way it was. The players policed themselves. They did. And if you take that out of the game, you're going to see a lot more cheap shots, a lot more, shoving a guy as he gets close to the boards, you know, hitting him with a little slash to the back of the knee. There's no repercussions to actions if you take all that out of the game. I think they should have more fighting. Matter of fact, I think they should have a rule where there's fighting in every single game. If you don't have 3 fights in a game, your team loses points. That'll stop it.
Okay. Good to hear. Drew S says here, 8:30, right on time. That's right, Drew. Gukun says, Grumpy, what brought you more enjoyment? The hockey play of Franz Nielsen or the music of Harry Nielsen?
I'll go with the music of Harry Nielsen. I was never a big Franz Nielsen fan.
Huh. You know, it is 63 days, unrelated to Franz Nielsen. 63 days until the Islanders action returns, grumpy old man. 63 days. Yep. It seems far away, but it's getting closer and closer, as it always does. One thing I forgot to mention, too, if you like the channel, if you like the podcast, do a few things for us also. Make sure you leave a thumbs up, right, Grumpy? What do they do if they like the show, Grumpy? What
helps the algorithm.
What do you like them to do, Grumpy?
5-star review.
So what do they have to do for that? They got to write in the comment section, 5-star review.
I don't know what they have to do. I have no idea what happens on these things. I have no idea.
Yeah, if I were to die tomorrow, Grumpy, you'd be lost in the ether, Grumpy. You're gonna have to start learning things, Grump.
Okay, if you died tomorrow, the show would end. That's all that would happen. The show would end. That's what would happen. The show would end.
Drill said, "Welcome everyone. Everyone to the Islanders Never Stay on Time podcast. I'm your host TJ, and with me here is our NHL analyst and expert, the Grumpy Old Man." Oh, there it is.
There you go.
Goon Grumpy.
Grumpy, the Jets played in your neck of the woods today. Was Lisa Wilson in attendance? Yes, she invited me up to her suite. It was fun.
There it is. Brian Jennings, Grump.
The optimism of some of our team's fans boggles the mind. I love the Islanders with all my heart, but it does not cloud my mind of reality. Not much to be excited about. Brian's 100% correct. There's not much to be excited about. And people saying that this team is good, they're delusional. They're delusional. Or people look at the improvements we made in the offseason. We've made no improvements in the offseason. None. Not a one. Bringing back the same failed team from last year is not an improvement. I don't know how anyone doesn't see that. Oh, but look, we signed Sorokin. Well, Sorokin was on the team last year. Can you name an offseason acquisition who was not on the team when we got shit canned by the injured, banged up Carolina Hurricanes? I can't.
Here's the thing. Obviously, the people who are trying to find some reason to be optimistic they have seen the team suck for years and years and years and years, and they're just trying to find any reason that they could have any sort of optimism. In this time period, the last 5 years under Lou Lamoriello, and more specifically Barry Trotz, we've had a lot of success over that time frame.
Success.
We have had success comparatively. We've had a lot of success compared to what it was 10 years ago and 20 years ago.
Okay, that's fair.
So again, we've had a lot of success, at least when we're looking at prior performances by the Islanders in recent years. And that's the reason why they're excited. They're like, wow, this is the renaissance. They've never experienced a good team and a competitive hockey team for a long time frame. most teams, when they compare to it, they're like, okay, if you're a Detroit fan, oh yeah, I remember back in the early 2000s where we were winning Stanley Cup after Stanley Cup. Or from a Pittsburgh fan, oh yeah, I remember the cups that we've won here just not too long ago. Same thing with Washington. So like those type of items there, Grump, is where, we don't, Islander fans don't have that. A lot of the younger Islander fans don't have that to look back on and as a barometer of where we should be.
That's true. I'll agree with that. That's absolutely fair.
Is there anything you're looking up there, Grumpy, you want to tell us about?
Yeah. I'm just looking at our conference, where we finished in the conference. It's interesting. You're saying, how great we are. I mean, do you want to know where we finished in the league since Barry Trotz has been here? I mean, what year did they start?
You don't have to worry about doing that. I will pull it up on screen because it's easier, and then we can all look at it together. If you want me to do that, just message me in the chat, and I'll pull it up.
Well, I'm just going to tell you. I'm not going to message you. I'm just going to tell you.
Okay, Grumpy. Remember this visual medium that we've got? We like to be able to showcase the visual medium.
Pull it up. Why isn't it up yet? You've been notified for quite a while now.
I tell you, dude, anytime you're trying to do something, it's like the old dinosaur trying to figure out how to do something. You just want to see how we've done in the league as a whole and not the conference.
There's something you could bring up. League. It has everything. Lays it all out.
I'm asking you what you want very specifically, Grumpy. You want it to show the league play? You want it to show
I want league, conference, and division. That's what I want.
I'm going to show you.
If you go to NHL.com, New York Islanders season by season record, it shows it all.
Okay. I'm just going to show it to you like this, Grumpy. Okay. There you go. You're looking at the league, right? Islanders finished 15th in the NHL this last season.
I'm not talking about this year. I want to do comparison of the Barry Trotz years. That's what I want. I mean, of the Lou Lamoriello years.
Okay. So you just want to see how we finish. 15. Lou Lamoriello was here last year, Grumpy. In 20th.
Okay. Forget it. No, you fucked it up. I'll just read it. Since you know what? It's NHL.com franchises, New York Islanders season by season record. That's what it is. I have it. If there's a way I could teleport you to be more intelligent, you would have it too.
You can copy the fucking link that is on your page and then fucking stick it in the private chat, Grumpy, and then I can pull that up. It's like, you're the same guy where it's like, I can't get the internet to pull up. Are you hooked up to the Wi-Fi? Of course I'm hooked up to the Wi-Fi. And you're not hooked up to the Wi-Fi. Just go ahead and shoot me the link, Grumpy. And if you're looking for something and mine doesn't fit what you want.
That link has been sent to you for about 10 hours and you just don't even look at it because you figure, well, if he has something to say, it's not important. So I'm not even going to look at it.
Thank you for finally sending it to me there, Grumpy. I'll pull this up.
I just think it's interesting.
Here's what you've got. Look at that. A little Noah Dobson up there.
That's right.
Okay. So you want to take a look at this. Here you go, Grumpy.
Yeah. Okay. You're going to have to make it bigger so people can see it. For a visual medium, it's too small for anybody to see. Okay. There we
make that really fucking small so you have a hard time seeing it, Grumpy.
And just scroll over the other side so we can see where there we go. League finish.
Okay, Grumpy. I was showing you the same shit, just a different way.
You see, this is all stacked upon itself. Everyone says how great the Islanders are and what tremendous success we've had under Barry Trotz and under Lou Lamoriello. I'm sorry. And I just want to see it. If we scroll a little bit further to the first year that Lou Lamoriello was there, whatever year that was.
5th in the Metro. Or 5th.
Okay, fifth in the league, which was pretty good. Okay.
That's really good.
Okay.
5th in the NHL is really good.
Right. 4th in the conference, which is good. That's good. That's the high watermark. And 2nd in the Metropolitan Division. That was the year that we wound up losing to, of course, our friends, the Carolina Hurricanes, when they swept us.
We had 100. We had how many points on the season?
103.
Okay, 103 points on the season.
There's our high watermark. That's as good as we were ever going to be. Next year,
or as good as we've been so far.
Right. Well, it's not getting better. Then we were 11th in the league, 7th in the Eastern Conference. Okay. 5th in the Metropolitan Division. Boy, that looks like this year. It sure does, except we're not going to be 7th in the East. And we lost in the conference finals. That was to our friends at Tampa Bay. We were never beating them. Then the next year, a little bit worse, 12th. There was nothing in the East. That was like where they had
There
the
was no conference. It was
no
just teams.
conference. But once again, 4th in the East. We did qualify, and we lost once again to our friends, the Tampa Bay Lightning.
In the Eastern Conference Finals.
Then the first year that we played a full season again, 20th in the league. That's not good. 9th in the East, 5th in the Metro, no playoffs. And then this year, great year. Everyone says, man, last year it was a positive. This is a positive. This team's on a positive roll. 15th in the league, 7th in the conference, 4th in the Metro division, and lost in the first round to our friends, the Carolina Hurricanes. What I'm saying was the high water mark was Lou Lamoriello and Barry Trotz's first year here. Everything else has been, we've not even been a top 10 team in the league. Not even been a top 10.
We've had more postseason success the 2 prior years, or the two years after that.
We won a couple of playoff rounds. We won 2 playoff rounds. That's successful. Okay. We've won 5 playoff series since Barry Trotz has been here. 5.
I consider unless your team is the favorite to win the Stanley Cup, making it to the conference finals is a success. I consider here's the thing. If we next year made the conference finals, that's a success.
We're not making the conference finals. We're not even going to make the playoffs.
Entertain with me, Grumpy. All I'm saying is if the team is not the favorite to win the Stanley Cup and you make the conference finals, as in you're one of the top 4 teams in the NHL when all is said and done in the playoffs, guess what? I look at that as a successful year. So we had successful years. This is my point. You made it to back-to-back Eastern Conference Finals. That's successful. The year prior to that, you were the 5th best team in the NHL after coming off of some really shitty years. 22nd.
I don't know. We were 10th. There's 10th. 2 years in a row, we were 10th. We've had 1 year. So let me tell you something. Garth Snow's a vastly superior GM. Was
top 10 finishes.
Top 10.
Top 10 finishes.
Top 10 in the league.
We had, oh my God, we had 5 top 10 finishes under Garth Snow's last 5 years. And
there you go.
And then in Lou Lamoriello's tenure, 1 top 10 finish.
Okay,
You've had more postseason success. That's why.
Round 2 losses. I mean, it's not, here's the thing. All I know is we were top 10 in the league twice in the last 3-4 years that Garth Snow was here. And we've only been top 10 once in the whole Lou Lamoriello regime. Once.
In the regular season.
I want that to sink for all the Islander fans who say how great we were under Lou Lamoriello. We were a top 10 team, like a top third of the team, a top third in the league team once.
What?
Usually, okay, then what are we? 11th, 12th. What's next? 5 was, I told you, the first season was the high water mark. The high water mark.
20th and 15th.
Then 11, 12, 20, 15. So, hey, 2 years ago, we were bottom third of the league. This year, we were absolutely middle of the pack. 9th in the East, 7th in the East. Look at those. Boy, we really close in on a Metro division title, aren't we? 4th, 5th, 4th, 5th. What makes anybody think it's going to be any better than that? The first year we came in 2nd. The first year. Whole new organization. Everything than that, just mediocre.
A totally different style. We went from playing a running gun style under Doug Waite to having structure. And I mean, you think about it too, under Barry Trotz, that was the youngest team we've had. That was a younger team back then too, under Barry Trotz. I'm interested to see what the average age was over that time frame.
I don't know what it is, but all I'm saying is for people to say how great, this is like the golden era. You realize at the end of the Garth Snow era, we were virtually the same team. Our results were virtually the same. We're just a run-of-the-mill hamster wheel of mediocrity team. It's what the Islanders are. And like I said, the Islanders have been so successful. It's not true. It's just not.
Comparatively, I'd say, though. I mean, okay.
I'm comparing it to the miserable Garth Snow era, which everyone says is a failure. Everyone. Garth Snow sucked. Well, guess what? looking at the stats, it's the same team. The records are virtually the same.
In the
More top 10
season.
finishes.
In the regular season, sure. In the postseason, we've had much more success under Lou Lamoriello.
We've won 5 playoff series under Lou Lamoriello. 5. We've won 5 playoff series. How much success is that really? You've won 5 playoff series. Well, actually, maybe was it 5? I think it's 5, right? 5.
Okay, just
round
to pull
2
this
must
up,
be
right?
1, 2, 5. We've won 5 playoff series. That's it. In 5 years, 5 playoff series.
Let me ask you this: if you only won 5 playoff series in a 5-year span, but one of those were a Stanley Cup, it's completely different. So it's like you can't just say 5 playoff series.
Okay.
It's not like
we
we're
won a
winning
Stanley
one.
Cup?
It's not like we're winning one playoff series a year and then we're getting knocked out in the second round year after year after year. I think the expectation and at that point, I think the judge or the judging of Lou Lamoriello will be completely different because we made it to 2 Eastern Conference Finals. It's looked at differently, Grump.
We played some shitty. Here's the thing: I can explain away how we won those series. Injuries and COVID seasons. COVID seasons. That's the only reason we had COVID seasons. And remember, the first year we made it to the conference finals, we wouldn't even have made the playoffs if COVID didn't stop it. If COVID didn't stop the season, we weren't even making the playoffs in his second year there.
Second year, sure.
We weren't even going to make the playoffs. The year after, we played 2 goalies who were just horrid. One guy with a career-ending injury was in net, Tuukka Rask, and Tristan Jarry. That's it. That is our success. It's smoke and mirrors. Team's not good enough. And we keep on doubling down. We keep on doubling down on a team that wasn't even good enough to be as good as the end of the Garth Snow era.
I'm looking here too. When you look at that team, it was, you look at that first year under Trotz.
It was good.
To be honest, the year was good. I mean, it was really, you talk about Robin Leonard had a freaking, an absolute bounce back of a season. Look at the age of some of the players. Matt Barzal, 21 years old. Josh Bailey, 29 years old. Brock Nelson, 27 years old. Anders Lee, 28 years old. Jordan Eberle, 28 years old. Ryan Pulock, 24. Casey Zizekas, 27. And old Valtteri Filppula, 34. Anthony Beauvillier, 21. Leo Komarov, 32. Nick Leddy, 27. Kyle Clutterbuck, 31. Adam Pelech, 24. Scott Mayfield, 26. Johnny Boychuk, 35. Devon Taves, 24. Matty Martz, 29. And then you got a few games there, like 20 games played by Andrew Ladd, 33. Tom Kuhnackel, holy shit.
Kuhnackel.
27 years old. Yeah, Kuhnackel, that's right. So it's like you look at the success of the team a lot younger.
How many 30-year-olds were there on that roster? And were they any of the core guys? Nope.
I could just pop it up on screen there for you.
Let's do it. Pop it up. Yeah. Oh, my goodness. There's our friend. That's little Charlotte.
That it is. So Matt Barzal, right? 21 years old. Josh Bailey, 29.
In his prime at 29, right? In his prime. Brock Nelson
had, surprisingly, even though that was the best year to date he'd ever had, that was not his prime.
27? No, but
hold on. Last year, okay, every year he's been improving.
You're not understanding what I'm saying. 27 is the prime time of a hockey player. It's not in the 30s.
But he is an exception. There's not a lot of exceptions, but he's a guy who's been an exception to that. Anders Lee, right? It's definitely been downhill for him.
But he's in his prime, age-wise. Jordan Eberle.
Yes. Yeah, sure. Jordan Eberle, another guy who was again towards the prime. Ryan Pulock, 24. Casey Zizekas, 27. Filppula. So we've got one now forward who's 34.
And you said ancient. He'd be a spring chicken on this year's team.
Leo Komarov is 2 over 30. Kyle Clutterbuck, 3 over 30. Johnny Boychuk, 4 players over the year or over the age of 30 years old. Andrew Ladd played 26 games.
Yeah.
So if you want to count him, sure we can. That's 5. Even if Thomas Greiss, the backup goalie, was 33. So
That doesn't
I'll
matter.
give it 5. I'll give the backup goalie. I'm not going to give Andrew Ladd, who was kind of bouncing between and didn't play. So 5 guys on the entire roster who are over the age of 30. That was the best year we had playing this defensive button-up system. That's something we haven't talked about a lot this year and this offseason is we made the change midway through the year to play more of the defensive style. I assume we're going to have to do the same exact thing going this year. The team cannot win playing a run and gun style. They have to play more structured. They have to play defense first. And it's one of those where we've talked about it. It is a grueling ass to have older players near or in their 30s playing every single shift, a full 200-foot game over an 82-game regular season and in the postseason if you make it there. So it's a big ask, and I mean a big ask. That's something we haven't talked about is how much the age is going to take an impact and effect on the Islanders this season.
I've talked about it numerous times. It's probably when you were in the bathroom and I had to, just go off script and just speak
we have not talked about that this offseason, Grump.
Okay. Old teams can't do it. I talk about it all the time. Every single show I talk about how old we are and how it doesn't work. Doesn't work.
I am interested to take a look here at what this year's roster
looks like. Let's look at this year. See how many guys we got under the age of 30.
I'm going to say it's not a lot. Sebastian Aho's 27 fucking years old. I forgot we drafted him when he was an overager.
He's in his prime.
Sure. Matt Barzal's in the prime.
In his prime.
Samuel Bolduc, young.
Still young. Still young.
Casey Zizekas is past the prime, 32.
Downside.
Kyle Clutterbuck, 36 years old.
Cashed.
Noah Dobson should be getting ready to enter his prime at 24.
Mm-hmm.
Pierre Engvall is in his prime.
And he sucks.
Hudson Fasching's in his prime.
I like him.
Julien Gauthier, he's whatever he is. Maybe he's in his prime. I couldn't tell you. I've never seen him play.
He's a failure.
Bottom sixer. Simon Holmstrom, he's young.
He sucks.
Horvat should be in the prime of his career.
Absolutely.
Ross Johnston, if he has a prime, this should be the prime. This should be the prime of his career. Anders Lee, 33 years old.
Done.
Matt Martin, 34 years old.
Finished.
Scott Mayfield, 31 years old. Brock Nelson, 32 years old.
Done.
Gabriel Pajot, 31 years old.
Blows.
Kyle Palmieri, 32 years old.
F-.
What is his date of birth? August. Okay, so Adam Pelech will be 30 years old at the start of the season. He'll be 30 years old 4 days from now.
Downside.
So I'm just gonna throw him into the 30-year-old bracket.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan Pulak, 29. When is this
30.
Season? So he'll also be 30. There's 10.
Mm-hmm.
Romanoff young at 24 years old. Sorokin, prime of his career at 28 years old. Varlamov, 35 years old. Backup goalie. 11 players over the age at 30 or over the age of 30 come the start of the season.
Nope. We had 4 guys, and none of them were big-time contributors.
I think there are other teams who have the same similar flaws that we have, but this is a definite flaw on our team. We're an older team with 11. Was it 11 or 10?
11.
11 players, including the backup goalie, that are going to be 30 or older come the start of the NHL season. That may be a problem over an 82-game year.
The difference.
How much, even if they play well in the regular season, how much is a team like that with 11 guys over the age of 30? It's a 23-man active roster. So you're almost looking at half the team is over the age of 30 years old, 30 or over. How does that bode over for teams who win, who make deep playoff pushes? And people are going to say they'll pull up an anecdote. Oh yeah, look at Tampa when they won those Stanley Cups. Look at how many guys they had over 30 years old.
The difference is those teams, their players were talented. Ours are not. Ours are ham and egger grinders for the most part.
Guys who are very defensively responsible, who win games based off of effort and based off of sticking to their assignment. Tampa has elite level talent. If they play, a structured style, that's just icing on the cake. But when you have so much talent, it's just hard to lose. You've got to get in your own way. That's not the case with the Islanders team. The Islanders have to hope for a lot of things to go right, I think, this year to win. I don't think it's possible they win a Stanley Cup, but even to make the postseason, I think it's going to be an act of God to make the postseason this year.
Bring up Tampa. I'm at because I think
They won
Tampa's
the cup.
no, not even the year they won the cup, last year. Or you could bring up this year's current roster. I think Tampa will make playoffs, but they're not winning any more cups. But if you look
So
at
you think Tampa's done. There are no more cups in the future for Tampa.
yes, that's correct.
Okay.
That's exactly what I think about Tampa.
All righty, let's take a look. Archibald, he's a bottom line guy, no?
Yeah. Bogosian, over 30.
Over 30.
Jernak, young.
Sharnak, prime of his career. Sorelli, prime of his career. Dahan, over the age of 30, but he's playing a bottom six role, I assume. I have no idea who the hell this guy is.
27.
Prime of his career.
Glendening, 34, in his 30s.
He's a bottom liner. I don't know if Glendenning is going to actually play for them, though. That's my thing. The finalized rosters haven't been done. Hagel, 25, right? Victor Hedman,
33.
Now, Hedman's a guy who's a first ballot Hall of Famer, right?
He's a Hall of Famer. I'm not going to say first ballot. I'm just saying he's a Hall of Famer.
Victor Hedman's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Are you kidding me?
Okay, I'm just saying.
Hold on. Are you kidding me?
Victor Hedman's just saying he's a Hall of Famer.
First ballot.
I'm just saying he's a Hall of Famer. That's all.
Wow, look at that freaking huge contract he's got, man. All of $5 million a year. Better watch out. $5 million a year for Victor
Now,
Hedman.
Who do you think's better? Hedman now and on the length of his contract, or Pellick and Pulak, who make more money for longer term? Tampa Bay does it right. They sign their guys young before they get to become free agents. They lock them up long term. They've done the same thing with Sorelli and Chernak and all these guys. Kucherov, all these guys. They're signed up long term. Kucherov, Tanner Jeannot, 26. Kucherov, 30. So he's on the wrong side of the tracks. Nick Paul, 28. What?
Kucherov, Nick Paul, 28. Braden Point, 27. Prime of his career. Sergachev, 25. Prime of his career.
31. Stamkos, 33. Vasilevsky, 29. We are older than Tampa Bay is.
Yes, we are.
And wow. I think Tampa Bay is done.
I think Tampa Bay, looking at Tampa Bay's age and roster, I think they could maybe have a chance this year. The window is really close to shutting on Tampa, though.
I think that for me, Tampa Bay, they've lost their middle class. That's what I think. I think, because all these guys make money, right? Not a whole lot, but if it all adds up, because they had a lot of good players who've been good for a long time, but it means that their middle class is really suffering.
Braden Point is getting paid $5 million a year. Holy shit. Sergachev, $4.5 million a year. Hold on. What type of contract is Stamkos on? This cannot be accurate. $1 million a year. Hold on. Oh, is this the cap hit? Not including this is just a salary. This is not including okay. So never mind. We're speaking out of our ass on this one because I got to pull up the actual cap hits because depending on what the signing bonus is for that year too.
Okay. I can give you what they make, right? Kucherov, $9.5 million a year. He's 30 years old and he just turned 30. And he signed for 4 more years. That's a good contract. Braden Point is signed for the foreseeable future till 29, 30. He's got 6 years on his contract, 27, 9.5. Stamkos, last year is this year, 8.5. If he wants to go back to Tampa, he's not getting paid 8.5 next year. Sorelli, 26 years old. He's making 6.25, and he's still got 6-7 years on his deal. Nick Paul is another guy. He's got 6 years left on his deal, or 7. I'm sorry, no, 6 years.
Or is there a reason that we're talking about the cap hits of these guys? The point being, as I wanted to mention, when we said $5 million for Victor Hedman, he's not getting paid $5 million. He's getting paid 7.8. I just wanted to mention that when we were talking about that earlier and you were making a comparison to Pellick and Pulak, we were wrong on that. That's just showing the salary. That's not showing what the actual cap it is. So I just wanted to mention that. We don't need to go through and run through every freaking pay amount of a Tampa, right, in the cap structure they've got. I did want to say this. What, Crum?
But that's my point. What Tampa has, they have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys making over $5 million a year against the cap. 8 if you count the goalie. That's why they have no middle class, because you have so many guys making, big salaries. You ask why I think Tampa Bay is not going to have a shot, because when all those guys have that type of salary cap hit, it means that you have to skimp and cut back on your middle class. It's why they've lost a lot.
They've got a better chance. I still think they have a chance, right? Okay. I don't care who's. I'm not trying to say who's winning the Stanley Cup, who's not. I'm talking about their team compared to us, because this is an Islanders podcast. Let's bring this back. Let's bring this back to the Islanders, Grumpy.
You're
okay?
right.
Let's not lose down the rabbit hole. Please.
Tampa Bay has a better chance of competing legitimately for a Stanley Cup than we do. That's correct.
And that point is, you look at the composition of the roster, there's a lot of teams out here who are built better than we are. Now, injuries are the one, thing that can level the playing field. I just look at a team like this, I think to myself, this team still has maybe a little bit of a chance. Hagel at 25. You're looking at guys like, Kucherov, he just turned 30, okay? Braden Point at 27 years old, Sergachev at 25. They've got a lot of talented young players, guys who are going to be Hall of Fame caliber potential players. Like Vasilevsky's a Hall of Fame caliber goalie who's 29 years old. There's a lot of those type of players that are in the mix here, Grump.
Yes, true.
So, and I'm sorry, Pelech and Pulak, they're born in 94. They're both going to be 29 this year. So it's 9 players, Grump. 9 players that are counting at 29. I'm 93. I'm 30. It's 2023. So they're going to be 29 this year. We've got 9 players on our current roster that are 30 years or older. But yeah, it's
you're 30.
Yes. Are you confused by that?
Okay.
Pelech and Pulak were both born in 94. They're a year younger than me. I'm born in 93. I am 30.
Okay. They're 29.
29 this year. Yes.
Okay.
So we've got players that are over the age of 30, 9 players over the age of 30. And you're going to have Pelech and Pulak who are both 29. But it's like those guys should be 29 should be the prime of your career. You're still in the prime of your career. I just think that the age of the team continues to show itself. We're asking them to play a defensive button-up style for an 82-game season. It's going to be tough. That's all. It's going to be tough.
Very difficult.
We let Grumpy go ahead and take it. We go way down a rabbit hole per the usual. We let him take things, and he just an hour now in. We let Grumpy fucking do shit, and now here we are. I do want to pull up some additional comments there. But yes, Brian, to get back to your comment, there are a lot of fans who are optimistic. I think undeservingly so. They should not have this reason for so much optimism. Tony Chi says, Otto is a degenerate. He is. He is a degenerate.
Who's Otto? Who's Otto?
My cat, Grumpy. Drew L.
Degenerate's a nice little cat.
Please keep reading comments there, Grumpy. Thank you.
Well, all I say is tonight, I'm actually kind of glad TJ started late, because I just got back home after watching Indiana Jones earlier. Oh, I'm surprised. What's your review on Indiana Jones? That's my question. Gungun says, congrats on your 200th show. This is the only sports podcast I watch. Screw all the other nincompoops. I agree, Gungun.
Thank you, Gungun. We've got great guests on the show, too. I mean, come on. When we get guys like Andy Francis, Phil's Fiction, Greg Prado, we get a lot of great guests here on the show. Nicole Sherman's coming up on Wednesday.
Today, supposedly.
I did make a mistake thinking that was today. So, yes. I'm trying to get everything set up for our upcoming summer schedule, Grumpy. But absolutely, thanks for the kind words there, Gungun. Ye right, 2 pops, Grump.
Bum Hurtback is an Anders Lee with a face-off twist. Yet Grumpy Old Man wanted Horvat and can't stand Lee. Grumpy Old Man is losing it like Grandpa Lou. I wanted Bo Horvat as a UFA. Oh, and here's the thing. Bo Horvat is way better than Anders Lee. There's much more to his game than to Anders Lee's game.
You're sorry. Right. You're right. There's only one guy who saw that as a bad move by the organization.
I didn't like the trade. One guy. I wanted the player. Yes, that's correct.
One guy didn't even want the player because he saw what the possibility was.
You're happy just coming in 11th, 12th, 20th, 15th.
I'm not happy with that. I'm not happy unless we're winning fucking Stanley Cups.
Well, you'll never be happy.
Just continue just to freaking further sink the ship.
You'll never be happy then, ever.
Because we're never going to win a cup. Is that what you're saying, Grumpy?
Nope.
Oh, man. You lose it. My God. You right to Pop saying Grumpy Old Man's losing it like Grandpa Lou. Holy shit, Grumpy.
I wanted Horvat. Tell me, most people wanted Horvat. I didn't want to trade
Here's the
for
thing,
him.
use your brain, not listen to the freaking Lamanites, Grumpy. The Lamanites
No, I wanted him. I wanted him before. I like Bo Horvat. I do like Bo Horvat.
He's just a freaking Joe. He's an average everyday guy who busts his ass. That's it.
Okay. I wanted him. I didn't want to trade whatever future we had. And they want to pay him $8.5 million for 8 years. That I didn't want. That's
when
being
you traded
ridiculous.
him, they weren't going to let him walk.
You
knew
know
he
what
was
it's
asking for $8 million plus. What did you think that came with? Let's do the math.
Like, okay. Let's say you traded for Connor McDavid. Okay. And you had to give up. Everyone wants Connor McDavid on the team.
Sure.
Right? Okay. But then you traded your first round draft picks for the next 10 years and Noah Dobson and Matt Barzal and everybody else is worth anything now. And then you gave him a contract, 11 years at $50 million. Would you want Connor McDavid at that price? The answer is no. That was my whole thing. Yes, I like Connor
McDavid. If Connor McDavid was coming up in the contract year and he was saying, I'm looking for an 11-year, $50 million contract, guess what? I would not entertain a trade for him because it would not make sense. Just like when we traded for Bo Horvat and he was asking for $8 million plus, and we knew that when we traded for him, we said, all right, let's go ahead and execute this trade. And then we want to pay him 8.5 per. That's just like, it's just.
Again, I'm not saying you can still like the player and hope the player would come there and want the player, but then you see the cost. It's like, no way. That's my point.
I like Anders Lee.
Really?
Yeah. I think he does a lot of good things.
Because he's got a rock solid jaw. I mean, what do you like about Anders Lee?
The cap, it doesn't matter. The cap, it doesn't matter at all. I like him occasionally out there. I like about one shift every 30 times he plays out there, but I really like his play on those few shifts there, Grumpy. The cap, it doesn't matter, man. Cap, it doesn't matter. You know what I would probably do? I'd probably trade everything we had in the farm for a guy like Anders Lee.
That's why you're not a general manager. That's why your fantasy teams suck. That's why. You want to know why your teams suck? That's why.
Sure it does. Here's the thing, though, Grumpy. For you just to say, I like a player, but I'm not including the cap hit in on that. What it costs to trade.
That's not what I said. That's not what I said. That's the exact opposite of what I said.
You were thinking that, it's good to get Bo Horvat when we were at the deadline. Oh, yeah, this is a good decision to make.
I didn't want to give up all. No, you're wrong. You're absolutely wrong as usual.
It was a
Why don't you tell us again? Why don't you regale us at the tale how Anders Lee's better than Patrick Kane? We go down that
wrong again, Grumpy. Wrong again.
I like Bo Horvat. Yes, I wanted Bo Horvat. If we could get Bo Horvat in the offseason, absolutely. Did I want to trade Ratu and a first round pick to get him? No. Did I want to sign him 8 years, $8.5 million? Absolutely not. I didn't want to give up assets to get him. I wanted to sign him as a UFA.
I didn't want to sign him as a UFA. Guess what? You already knew the asking price was $8+ million. Nobody's taking a sweetheart deal to come here to the New York Islanders and saying, I'm taking below market value to come here to play for you guys. Unless your name is Zdeno Chara or Parise, where I'm old, washed up, and have no other options available to me except the old man who wants to take a chance on me, who has built up a lot of cachet in the league. That's it. Those are the only guys who take hometown deals for us from outside the organization. You're never going to get a guy like Bo Horvat to come here and say, oh, yeah, I'm willing to take here a deal for less than my market value to play in New York. Yeah, that makes sense.
I could dream, can I?
No, you can't.
Okay.
You can dream. We're talking about in reality. Okay, I'm dreaming.
It's not my fault. It's not
the Islanders winning a Stanley Cup this year, Grumpy. I'm dreaming, man. Don't mess
my fault. It's not my fault that my dream turned into a nightmare because of the old man. That's not my fault. If you ask me, yes, I like Bo Horvat as a player. He's somebody who fits what the Islanders do, and I think he's gonna be good this year. I absolutely do.
He does fit what the Islanders do. I think he'll put up more points this year, too. I think that was a shitty contract. I thought it was a shitty trade. And I think for a guy who is just a hard effort guy who has a little bit of talent with him, it's way too much. I don't think he's an ultra talented player. Sure, he's a leader. We're a team stock fucking full of leaders, though.
He reminds me of Ryan Kessler.
He's a better version of Anders Lee. No, Ryan Kessler's a much better player than that freaking bum. Do not compare the two.
What I'm saying is same type of player. I loved Ryan Kessler. I always wanted Ryan Kessler on our team. But here's the thing. Would Ryan Kessler have been worth trading, your best prospect, a young winger, and a first-round pick, and then giving him a ridiculous contract? No. But that doesn't mean I can't like the player. Patrick Sharp was a guy that I really liked. Would have loved to see the Islanders get him when he was playing. There's certain guys I like who I think fit what the Islanders do. And I think Bo Horvat is one of those guys. I absolutely do. Now, could it not pan out? It certainly could. I think he's going to be good this year. I just think the problem with the first line is you don't have a left winger. If you look at the numbers, I think Horvat is very comparable to Kessler.
Kessler's a lot better. Okay. Kessler had multiple plus seasons. Kessler had multiple 70-point seasons in a row, might I add.
Well, look at the team he played for, too. That Vancouver team put the puck in the net.
Multiple 70-point-a-year seasons. Ryan Kessler is a much better player than Bo Horvat. I would rather have Ryan Kessler than Bo Horvat. Simple.
What I'm saying is they're similar in style. Okay? That's what I'm saying. And, Kessler's numbers. Look at the teams Kessler played for, right? Vancouver, when the Sedins were on the first line. He was on the second line. And then when he went to Anaheim, you had,
Vancouver, when Bo Horvat's on the second line, Elias Pettersson's on the first line.
But that Vancouver team is not the Vancouver teams of the early 2010s.
Elias
Absolutely
Pettersson
not.
puts up more points than Daniel and Henrik Sedin do. That's just stats. Those are just facts.
What I'm saying is that team was loaded. That team was really good. That Vancouver team in the 2010s was really freaking good.
Yeah, maybe
which was a number of.
They had a Hall of Fame caliber goalie in that too that we traded away for nothing.
Well, that's a whole nother ball of wax. We're not going down that rabbit hole. We don't want to rabbit hole this, TJ, do we?
No. When I make statements like that, you cannot manage to stay on course. But like, okay, Elias Pettersson. It's young yet in his career, but that's a guy who
he's not the Sedins. He's not either one of the Sedins. He's not. He's absolutely not.
Sedin's best season was when he was 30 years old. He put up 104 points. Elias Pettersson at the age of 25 has put up 102. I don't know, Grump.
Henrik Sedin was a really good defensive center as well. Don't put Henrik Sedin down. He didn't score a whole lot of goals. He was captain creator. Absolutely. And he had that chemistry with his brother where they could
Henrik
put anyone.
Had 112 points.
They could put anyone on that line with them, and they produced. Anson freaking Carter.
83 fucking assists. The guy didn't score a lot of goals, but 83 assists. Think about that. He played with a Hall of Famer his entire career, slapped on there with his brother. Elias Pettersson's not playing with any Hall of Famers out there. And Pettersson at a young age like that looks like he could be a little bit more. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
That's it. That's all I'm going to say. He's a guy who also doesn't need to pad the stats with 80-plus assists in order to get points. And I like Daniel and Henrik Sedin, both Hall of Famers. I'm just saying you're saying like the team. Oh man, that team Vancouver.
Okay,
so
now you're putting Henrik. Now Henrik Sedin is a stat stuffer because he had 83 assists. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He was a first ballot Hall of Famer.
If Elias Pettersson plays like he did last year for an elongated time period, he'll be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Oh my God, just stop.
What are you just stopping about?
Stop.
He's got 300. He's on almost a point a game pace at the age of 24 years old. 300 plus games, 300 plus points.
How often is he hurt? Misses time with injuries. Sedin's didn't miss any time with injuries.
He's only missed one time period with injury. That was during the 2020-2021 season or his truncated year. Last 2 years, he's played 80 games. So, yeah, he doesn't miss a lot of time with injury. He's missed one time period with injury.
Elias Pettersson has a long way to go before you can even bring him into the conversation with Henrik and Daniel Sedin.
He'll have more points if he stays healthy than them both.
No, he won't. He absolutely will not. He absolutely will not.
How many points do you think Henrik Sedin had?
How many what?
How many points do you think Henrik Sedin had over his freaking career, Grumpy?
900?
You don't. Okay, this guy's at 24 years old. He's at 323 points, and he's played 325 games. Let's just do some quick math. If he plays, let's say, till he's 34, 35 years old, he's going to have more points.
How many points does the Sedins actually have? I don't know. I'm guessing. I
Henrik
don't know.
Sedin's going to have more points than Daniel. Henrik Sedin had a 1,070 points on his career.
Okay, that's good.
Daniel Sedin had 1,041 points in his career. Both 1,300 plus games.
Okay.
I'm just going to tell you this. I think Pettersson, a guy like that, has a chance to have more than 1,000 points in his career if he stays healthy. That's all. When you're putting up 100+ point years, that's something to clamor over. With 30+ goals or 39 goals, whatever the hell it was, that's something to take note of. I do have an ad today that we want to read from DraftKings. We got ads from DraftKings as well as from Raycon here.
Raycon.
New customers, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the promo code THPN. Bet just $5 and score $150 in bonus bets instantly. Again, that's promo code THPN only at DraftKings Sportsbooks. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. In Massachusetts, call 800-327-5050 or visit helpline at ma.org. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Kansas, call 1-800-522-4700 on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort. And in West Virginia, if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. All games are regulated by the West Virginia Lottery. Please play responsibly in partnership with the Hollywood Casino at Charlestown Races. And in Connecticut, help is available for a gambling problem at 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. You must be 21 years or older in eligible states, but age varies by jurisdiction. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. One boost per eligible game. Opt-in is required. A maximum bet of $50. 10+ leg is required for a 100% boost. Eligibility, wagering, and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at DraftKings Sportsbook sportsbook.draftkings.com/baseball terms. And then we've got an ad today to read from Raycon, Grumpy, your favorite. That's right, Raycon. Even if you're not going on vacation, summer is all about the vacation mindset. Whether I want to listen to, a podcast at the gym, or you want to listen to some pump up music on repeat, or you just need to retreat inside your own head for a bit. You got to love creating your own summer soundtrack by popping on your Raycon wireless earbuds. There's so much going on all summer, and sometimes you need some upbeat music to pump you up before you see people, or even just to stay calm with some guided meditation. Guided meditation, not medication. So, hey, when you go to the gym, or when I go to the gym, Grumpy, I like to listen to a few podcasts. I like to listen to some pump up music to get you in the right set of mind. So you got to do that with your Raycon headphones. And let me tell you right now, Raycon is the best way to listen. Use the earbud tap functionality to toggle between 3 customizable sound profiles, noise isolation, and awareness mode. Raycon has a 32-hour battery life, included 8 hours of playtime. So you can listen to what you want, when you want, also for a really long time. They come with custom gel tips for the most comfortable in-ear fit. They start at just half the price of other premium audio brands, but they sound just as good. And Raycons come with a 30-day happiness guarantee, so you really can't lose. Create your soundtrack with Raycon. Right now, listeners of the Islanders Never Say Die podcast, you guys can get 15% off the Raycon order if you go to buyraycon.com/THPN. Again, that's buyraycon.com/THPN to save 15% on Raycons. Buyraycon.com/THPN.
15. Nice.
There it is. Brian Jennings says, TJ, cracks in the team? More like Moses parted the Red Sea.
Oh, that's a cavernous crack. I got to say, I miss the old days when TJ would butcher the ads and say like HOPENY as opposed to HOPE-NY. It was HOPENY.
They actually space it out now, so it's easier to read phonetically. It used to just be all the same line.
1-800-HOPENY. I'm like, HOPENY?
HOPENY, baby. HOPE-NY.
I'm like, HOPENY.
Gungun says, if the Islanders made it further into playoffs, would Aaron Rodgers have bravely attended the Islanders game or remained firmly in the Rangers lane? I think he didn't give a shit. He would have gone. If the Islanders were in the postseason and the Rangers weren't, he would have showed up at the Islanders game.
I
Just like Zach
disagree.
Wilson went to the Islanders game when he was drafted. Woo, Zach Wilson here. That first year, once he was drafted, he went to the Islanders game when they're in the
The
postseason.
Rangers get Aaron Rodgers. We get Zach Wilson. If that doesn't tell you where this team is on the pantheon of New York sports entertainment, I don't know what else does. The Giants, football, it doesn't matter. But a football leader, a great football player. Who gets the football players? The Rangers get Aaron Rodgers. We get Zach freaking Wilson.
Hey, buddy, you know who looked good in their first game back in the Steelers uniform, Grumpy?
Zach's mom?
Kenny Pickett, Grumpy. Kenny Pickett. He looked good, man. He's looking good. Mikey D said, the Islanders might be the only team in the NHL that's making moves to accommodate the wrong path. What other team is in the middle of the pack and didn't sell at this deadline? The Pittsburgh Penguins. There's a lot of teams who didn't do that. There's a lot of teams who foolishly think the same way we do, but it's like you can name them all on a hand. It's not like the league is flush with teams like that. There are teams who definitely think that way. Like Washington started to sell at the deadline. They were middle of the pack. I'd say Buffalo, they were middle of the pack. They didn't sell. They didn't buy. Detroit was lower middle of the pack.
Okay.
They sold. There's a lot of, and think about it. Detroit's a team in the rebuild. They still sold at the deadline. They sold Philip Hornick, and they made moves there still to hopefully structure their team right. Ottawa Senators, they're a team with a young core, but they still added to say, okay, we're going to make the plan where we know we're getting rid of DeBrincat this offseason, and we're going to go ahead and try to structure our team for the most success. So they brought in Jacob Chikrin. So there are teams who make moves, but the teams who made no moves or bought, it's very limited.
Washington sold and bought.
Yes.
They did both, but it was smart. Anyone who's a UFA, bye-bye. I mean, I don't think that – Pittsburgh – I can see why Pittsburgh did it again. I can see why Pittsburgh did it. They only have so many kicks of the can with Hall of Famers on their roster. I understand. Is it the right thing to do? No. But I understand why they did it. I understand why they did it. The Islanders makes no sense to me, just none. It's like we don't have Crosby and Malkin and Letang on our team. We got Brock Nelson, Anders Lee, and Bo Horvat. I mean, there's a big difference in talent level there. Big difference.
Like even when you talk about Nashville, right? Well, the rebuilding Nashville Predators finished with 92 points. They sold at the deadline like crazy. They only finished 3 points away from making the postseason.
They knew they weren't good enough.
Yeah, I was about to say, like I would consider Vancouver is bottom of the pack there, but like Calgary, did they buy or sell at the deadline? They sold, right? They sold Tyler Toffoli.
Yeah.
They missed out in the postseason by 2 points.
We should have done that 2 years ago when we weren't making the playoffs, and we kept everybody. We did this. I mean, even last year, you're not good enough. Cut bait on Parise and Mayfield and Varlamov. Just cut bait on them. If you want to add an Engvall, that's fine. If you want to add a Horvat, that's fine. I could understand that logic because, okay, we're going to try to reload. But to not sell assets on expiring deals for guys in their 30s is just dumb. It's just criminally dumb.
Like the Winnipeg Jets did the same stupid thing. They added at this year's trade deadline. And they're a team that has a lot of older players. They've got, right, a top-tier goalie, kind of like we've got. I'd say that some of the offensive pieces they have around them were probably more talented maybe than some of the offensive pieces we had. But right at the deadline, they acquired Nino Niederreiter and Vladislav Domestikov as well. Cheveldayoff did. Like they were adding pieces the deadline too. And how did that end for Winnipeg? They're a team they're a team that's a mediocre team puttering around saying, let's add at the deadline. Like, what did the Florida do? How many pieces did Florida add at this year's trade deadline? Right? That could be your one Cinderella story that worked out.
I don't know what they did at the deadline.
They stand down at the deadline. They did not make any moves.
Okay. Well, okay. But I mean, it worked out for them. But
you got an extremely hot goalie. But again, like that's catching lightning in a bottle. Happens once every 10 years that you get a really hot goalie and you can win a cup.
for me, if I'm a fan of a particular fan base, I'm really unhappy what they did at the deadline and this offseason. That's Buffalo Sabres. They're a team that's loaded with young talent. At some point in time, you have to bite the bullet, move somebody out.
They brought in Kyle Clifton, sorry.
He was a UFA. They didn't trade
Okay.
for him. I'm talking, okay, but he's not they needed something more than that. They need a goaltender.
Stability. He adds defensive stability, Grump.
They need a goaltender. If you're going in season with a rookie, wow. Talk about playing with one bullet in the chamber. I mean, they don't have a backup. Erik Comrie's your backup. Man, this Levi kid better be, and hey, maybe he is, but he better be sensational.
They still
first year in the NHL.
They still have Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen.
How good is he?
Just saying, you said they don't have that. They do. They've got pieces. They have goaltenders. It depends if they play up to their ability or not, Grump.
Okay, well, he's been how many years kicking around the league? He still didn't.
I think they're a flawed team. They need a goalie too, and I think they needed defensive help. They added a defensive piece. They still need a goalie. The amount of teams that are flawed are much more than the amount of teams that are like, hey, we're perfectly structured.
True.
Jake K, Grumpy.
What really is concerning is that we're stuck with Lou for a while. Which potential GM is going to want to manage a roster in year 2 of Varlamov's contract and year 4 of Mayfield's contract? If you can get somebody young to come in here and do that, there's guys who are going to be willing to say, you know what, I want to get a GM job. It's not going to be an established guy.
You're going to be, as I was about to say, you're rolling the dice on some Johnny kid who has had no experience as a general manager. This is his first opportunity, who has a chance to make a name for himself. Now, this is what you run into. If he somehow pulls some sort of magic out of his hat, he will bolt at the first opportunity that presents itself unless you pay him hand over fist, because the Islanders situation with how many guys we gave long 7-year contracts with or long 7-year contracts to, it's going to be tough to rectify that. That's not something that gets fixed overnight in a 1, a 2, or a 3-year time frame. That's going to be until many years down the road. You're rebuilding from scratch.
The pain the Islanders franchise is going to have to endure with the Pierre Engvalls and Scott Mayfields and Varlamovs,
Horvats,
and all these guys are on long-term deals, because we don't give short-term deals here. Everything's 7, 8-year extensions for guys, for Jags. That's the ultimate mistake. If you had, anybody, if you had a McDavid, you got a Draisaitl, you got, Kachuk, Barkov, yes, you give those guys those type of term because they're that good. We don't have anyone like that on this team. We don't. We just don't. And I love Matt Barzal. He's not in the same class as those guys. He's never proven it. I think he's just as talented, but he's skating like with guys in the beer league. It's like, yeah, okay. It's like he's out there by himself.
We've talked about it before. Most teams that give long-term contracts give those contracts to players that perform and players that are at the top of their craft. They don't give long-term contracts to players that are average or slightly above average players. We're the only team that does that on a consistent basis.
With no trade clause.
If Nino Niederreiter is on this team, he would have gotten a 7-year contract. I don't consider Nino Niederreiter special at all. I consider him as just a guy. But he would get a huge fucking contract if he was here with us. And we just hand those out very freely and very liberally. It's that simple. And it's just, we're the only team that does that. I will be interested to see how we're fighting up current. Is that going to result in us getting washed down the waterfall or making it all the way up to the top to the breeding ground? We'll see.
We are like those salmon who swim upstream to breed. Yes, good. And you know who's waiting at the top in the face of the bear? The rest of the NHL. Just swallowing our shit up.
Lou Lamoriello. I guess that's the optimism. You can also use that as an analogy for optimism for Islander fans. It's been an uphill battle for years and years and years. And every single type of spot where we've got to go ahead and make these big jumps, we've got a different Lou Lamoriello. We've got the Property Brothers. We've got the Islanders media cartel. There is somebody there every step of the way to ruin the optimism. I don't know, to ruin. It's
Lamoriello. It's Lamoriello.
Yeah, it's just Lamoriello. Yeah. Just Lamb. Yeah.
It's not ownership. They don't pull the trigger on these trades.
They do re-sign Lamoriello. They did re-sign Lamoriello. So,
well, we don't know. We don't know his contract situation. We don't know.
I don't think he signed a 1-year contract. He is 87 years old. 87, right? 78, 79.
He's 81 or 82. He's not 87 years old.
Maybe his contract's been extended till he's 87. I don't know. They won't release any of the details, right? And when people ask them about it, they say, "Oh yeah, I don't have to release that information." No,
Who's that question coming from? Where's that question coming from?
We only have to release player information. Wouldn't divulge any of the lowly serfs like I and the rest of the fan base as to how long of a contract he got extended.
I wish somebody would ask question when they talk about Varlamov. Don't you feel like a fool not moving Varlamov and all these other guys who don't play backups? Don't you feel like a fool not moving him? Where's that? I mean, because you should feel like an absolute fool. Guy played 3 games after the deadline, and you tripled down on him.
Damn, man.
A fool. Move him and then re-sign him at the end of the season. Because believe me, nobody, and I mean freaking nobody, is signing a 35-year-old backup to a 4-year extension at 2.75 per.
At the age of 30, at the age of 70, yeah, at the age of 35 years old, to where if he retires tomorrow, he still counts against your cap hit because of how old he was when you gave him that contract.
Why could you have not? Why could you have not just put Varlamov on a year-to-year thing? You could have just
that would just require too much brain power. I really don't know how. Like, right? Oh man, that all that loyalty we built up and cachet we built up with Varlamov for all these years that he's been here. Playing with his best friend, Sorokin. Yeah, okay.
Year to year. And you know what? Hey, that's what we're doing. Guys hit a certain age every day. Yeah, that's what they did with Parise year to year. I have no problem with that. Year to year.
Neither did I.
Why? You're signing a backup, a freaking backup to a 4-year extension? You know what? The only deal worse, and I don't even think it's worse because the money was like, Ross Johnston. Why did you sign him to a 4-year extension? He never plays.
I don't understand it.
And I like Ross Johnston. I feel like they've neutered him in this organization. But it's like $1 million, $1.1 million a year? I mean, happy for Ross Johnston, but why?
Instead of giving him 1.1, you could just say, hey, we're going to go ahead and have a guy who we're paying vet minimum and saving ourselves $400K.
Just sign him back year to year. And if he wants to go somewhere else, okay, see you later.
Here's the thing. If you sign him back year to year, he would determine to go someplace else. He'd be like, I signed on for 4 years, probably being told that I'd have some sort of role here on the team. And I've sat my ass on a bench and been a healthy scratch.
So what? He wasn't playing for you anyway. You see what I'm saying? That's why you don't sign these. Cal Clutterbuck. Where was Cal? These guys have lived here on Long Island for so long that they're not going anywhere. You don't need to give them massive contract extensions. Just 1 year. You think Matt Martin is moving somewhere after marrying Boomer Esiason's daughter? He's not going anywhere.
He's going to play for the Rangers. Arg.
Jeez. He's not going anywhere. 1-year extensions. $1 million a year. You got to assume he and Clutterbuck are gone at the end of this year. Why is Clutterbuck getting a 2-year extension? At 35 years old. Why? He's a freaking fourth liner. Why is Casey Zizekas getting a 6-year contract extension as a fourth line center? I've never seen anything like it. Fourth line center.
He's innovative. Lou is a pioneer on contract negotiations, Grumpy.
He's a moron.
Got a comment here from Frank K saying, the Islanders are screwed for the next 7 to 10 years. Fuck Lou.
True.
What's up, Helen Yeller? Looking an awful lot like Phil Kessel today, Helen. The Anti-Censorship Society says the Penguins have been exalted because of this latest deal, as if Jari and the no-name backup. Nedeljkovic is not a no-name backup. I like my boy Nedeljkovic. They signed, we'll save them. Lulz. I will say this. I think it helps them make the postseason. And since we've determined, or since the Pollyanna fans, the very optimistic Islander fans have determined that making the postseason is kind of the barometer, that's the goal. Well, that I think directly impacts our ability to make the postseason with them being a more competitive team in the regular season. They have zero, and I mean zero chance of winning a Stanley Cup. Just like we have no chance of winning a Stanley Cup, or very limited chance of winning a Stanley Cup. Same thing.
Zero. We have no shot of winning a Stanley Cup. Unless they disband the rest of the league and we have to play against juniors, and then I'd still think it would be 50-50. We have no shot of winning a Stanley Cup. None. Zero. Not on nothing. People forget you're going to have to play Carolina at some point in time. They just bitch slap us every time they play.
They just put a whole bunch of – they'll put a whole – yeah, that's true. Mikey D says, Goon, Aaron Rodgers went to the Rangers playoffs game 6 at MSG. No shock there. Some Mets and Jets go to the Islanders games sometimes, but it's rare. Yeah. Brian Jennings says here, this year's Islanders are brought to you by Hair Club for Men.
Oh, wow.
Hey, there it is. Mikey D said, I love Kyle Dubas and how he operates and usually doesn't make brain dead moves. But how the hell did he sign Yari to that contract? I don't think there are a lot of free agent goalie options out there that he felt confident with. I don't think much of Tristan Jarry at all, but I don't know. I was not a big fan of him taking the Pittsburgh job. I think that's a dead end job. I think it's a shit job to take. But it carries, I guess, some cachet because it's like, hey, it's the Pittsburgh Penguins.
It's Crosby and Malkin and Letang.
But think about them. They're all really freaking old. They still play because they're all legendary players. They all still play at a very high level for their age. But I'm like, that's not a team that's winning a Stanley Cup. You have and again, like he's out of Toronto. He hitches himself to a team that has, zero chance of winning a Stanley Cup. While he's going to try to strive for them to win a Stanley Cup, it's just a really large mountain to climb.
I don't care that Dubas went there. I wouldn't mind him coming here. At least not afraid to make a move. I'm just going to say that about him. So, and Tristan Jarry, that was a head scratcher for me. But the Karlsson move was pure freaking genius. Pure genius.
D-Cut says, nice shirt, Grump.
Thank you.
Mikey D says the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League is super soft. Huge point totals in all the forwards in that league. Yeah, they are
soft.
Like
playing an all-star. It's like playing an all-star game every night.
Yep. That's why when you look at the numbers, always the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League forwards and defensemen are always going to have inflated numbers. Very rarely do they translate over. Drew L said, I was going to ask Nicole who she has added to her fan club since the last time she was on. I believe she's a big Cizikas fan, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I'm looking forward to having Nicole on. I was so excited, I thought she was on tonight. My lack of planning. Andrew L said here, Grumpy, did you go to the Jets-Panthers game today? Bryce Young took a beating.
I did not go, and I did not see any of it, and I'm going to kick myself over that because I did want to see how Carolina looked today. And here's the thing. Jets' defense is good.
Brian Jennings, Grumpy.
Oh, man. Islanders aging like Vince Neil. Not a fine wine. Vince Neil, TJ, you know who that is?
I do not.
He's a lead singer for an old-time group. Now bring up Vince Neil.
Is this some other bullshit media crap? More Vince Neil? Who is Vince Neil, Grumpy?
He's a singer. I don't think he sings anymore.
With Rolling Stones?
No, God.
I don't fucking know. Looks like he's wearing a Rolling Stone or Kiss.
No.
Fucking no. He's looking quite old.
Yeah, he doesn't look good. I thought you were going to put the picture up so people could see.
I've got the picture. Don't you worry, Grumpy. He's looking a little old.
Yeah.
Motley Crue. Is he with Motley Crue, Grumpy?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm just lucky to think of that. That's all.
Yeah.
Anyway, Gungun says, did the Northwestern coaches do the right thing wearing Cats Against the World shirts amidst a hazing scandal? Or are they merely the dumbest dum-dums? I don't mind that. I mean, like, you're going to have to find something to try to galvanize the troops behind. And they probably feel that, okay, I'm going to let you know something. Hazing happens in all of college sports and all of NFL sports. Like, hey, the rookies have to do this, X, Y, and Z. Oh, they got to take all the pads back. They do a lot of shit behind closed doors. Same thing in college athletics. So I don't know. Some people were obviously upset by it. I haven't done a lot of research into it, but I could just tell you hazing is just a part. There's a fine line. You
What
know, you got to
happens?
treat people with respect, but they got to pay the dues, if you know what I mean.
What happens to a player who spills the beans? Oh, I'm getting picked on by Johnny Pencil, by Mr. Ruffian over here. What happens to him on the team?
Not good things, Grumpy. Vernon Mellows said, seen Kiefer playing with Anders in the Beauty League. LOL. Yeah, I've seen Kiefer lighting it up in Anders League, playing like shit. What's up, Vernon? How are you? We're big Kiefer Bellows guys. Hopefully he gets another shot. But Nick C, Grumpy, and I'll be back in a second. Just read additional comments.
Don't worry about it. I'll be done with the comments by the time you get back. Nick C says, how do you guys think the Fanatics jerseys are going to come out? I don't know, and I don't care. Christopher C says, the only New York team doing well this year, the New York Liberty. Okay, that's girls' sports. It's not even a sport. We might as well just say no New York team is doing anything. Rick Roma says, I saw on Twitter that TJ said Barbie was a better film than The Godfather. Grumpy, talk to you. I cannot believe he said that. Please tell me that's not true. That's not true. I do want to touch on that one later because that cannot possibly be true. Even a dullard like TJ knows that's not true. Drew says, I'd say both New York basketball teams. The Knicks did well and are going to be good for at least, all right, a basketball. Next. Gungun says, what should the NHL ban first, fighting or biting? Biting. I don't believe in biting. Rick Romer says, I think sports mirror society, and right now we live in a very soft world. I think it'll swing back. Everything goes back and forth. I 100% agree, Rick Roma. I mean, that's the way it was in the old days in the Greek society. It was pretty soft, and then things just kind of flipped. They absolutely always do. Rick Romer says, hell, I hear the Commanders might go back to the Redskins again. People are already starting to fight back against this. You know, the only people that the Redskins names didn't bother were the Indians. So, you know, American Indians. So go figure. It pissed off all the softies around the world, but not the people it was supposed to upset. Drew says, Rick Roma, we might need Ron DeSantis to run the NHL. Maybe the NHL to be saved because he won't ban hitting or fighting. Okay. Dallas McDonald says, hey, Grumpy, I can't remember being called Old McDonald, but when I was very young, people asked me if I was named after the TV show Dallas. Well, that's very possible. The only fights we see now are after a good hit. Exactly. Rick Romer says fighting won't be banned in the NHL, and there's no way hitting will be banned. The fans will tune out, and that'll hurt the bottom line, which is all these owners care about. But they're doing in slow increments. There's really no hitting in the league now. If you look at how it was 30 years ago, it's like big hits. I love big hits. Everybody loves big hits. If they tell you they don't, they're lying. D-Cut says NHL Network came out with their top 50 prospect list. Guess how many Islanders were on that list? I don't know, but I'm going to probably say 0. Brian Jennings says, my future, watch Islander games, get scored on early, fall asleep, wake up with a minute to go in the third. Islanders don't get a shot on goal with the goalie pulled, fall back to sleep, repeat 81 more times. That's some positive thinking there, Brian. Got to love it. Tony Pino Jr. says, I think we're going to have a good season. Hopefully, Bo and Matty click. Die Hard Isles. Let's go, Islanders. I mean, that's all you can hope for. I wish that we had gotten someone who could skate to play on the first line, maybe a Hudson Fashing, maybe move Casey up to the first line. I don't know. Someone has to be able to skate to play with Matt Barzal. Bo Horvat is not that guy, but he does move, and he does a lot of things that he could benefit. Anders Lee is absolutely not a fit. Gungun says, TJ, please look up and announce the final score of the Mets-Brave games today. It's guaranteed particularly fancy. I believe it was 21-3 in game 1 of the doubleheader. Mikey D says, a big issue that isn't talked about a lot is that the Islanders front office and decision-making for the team ops, for the hockey ops, is literally Lou and his son. No other advisors. That's just not a modern organization. That's not an organization anywhere. They don't even have mom and pop stores anymore. And if they did, they still have somebody else involved. It's disgraceful. John DeBella says, 5-star review. Thank you very much, John. Appreciate it. D-Cut says, as usual, TJ favoring YouTube comments over Facebook comments. Take it deep, you bald-headed BHD. And he's not even, see, D-Cut, you're getting lazy now. BHJ, bald-headed jerk. And D-Cut and a lot of the members who listen to this show are from Isles Misery Rated R, that fantastic Facebook Islander fan group. And I'm an honorary member, even though I'm not part of it. Dallas, once again, J.R. Ewing, McDonald says, I live in Quebec City, home of the Cape Breton, or Q City, home, I guess that's Quebec, home of the Cape Breton Eagles, former home of Marc-Andre Fleury and Pierre-Luc Dubois. Not a lot of fighting as there is now before the ban. Not a lot of fighting as there is now before the ban. Okay. Frank says, out of the prospect list, 50 out of 50, LOL. Nick D says, TJ Grumpy, how you guys doing? 5-star review. That's a good way to get mentioned every single time. Thank you, Nick. Brendan Nelson, probably not Brock's brother, says the Islanders are so bad, the Penguins will lose a lot of games because of the mix of Jari and Karlsson's defensive deficiencies, and they'll still make the playoffs over us. I think they are going to make the playoffs. I think Karlsson absolutely puts them over the top. D-Cut said, because Jari's good against every other team, it seems, except against us, or games that are really, really important, but regular season are not. D-Cut goes, Frank, that's where I rank New York as a state right now. Hukel and Adams can take it deep. Drew says, don't be shocked 4 years down the line, once Lou is done, that we start having Nordiques fans coming back to the UBS Arena and chanting the Islanders are going to Quebec City again. It won't be that bad, I don't think. Frank K says, no reason to be optimistic for many years to come. Collins, Danny Collins, who they just brought in for business purposes, will be gone after, the guy they brought in to be a partner. They brought him for business purposes, will be gone after this year after learning how much of an egomaniac control freak Lou is. Malkin can take it real deep too. That's interesting. That's interesting. The John Collins, who they brought in as like a minority partner. And if it's for business, I wonder if that would make Lou think, because Lou's got the other guy snowed, right? Let's just be honest. But if this guy's like day to day, that could cause a problem, and hopefully they'll get rid of Lou. That's just me spitballing. JP says, TJ, the point of this franchise hasn't been the favorite to win a Stanley Cup since 1984. That's the damn problem. Very true. Tony P goes, Grumpy, you always say we are not making it. Last year you said we weren't making the playoffs, and we didn't. That's not true. I said that we'd be scratching for trying to make the playoffs, one of the last spots. That's what I said. It's hockey. Anything can happen. Let's go Islanders. Yeah, anything can happen, but what's the probability of something happening?
It is true.
If Buffalo hadn't fallen apart the last 10, 15 games of the year, and Pittsburgh didn't shit the bed, we were not making playoffs. We just made the playoffs by 2 points. It's not like we're rolling. No. And then we got beat by a banged up Carolina team we never beat.
Let's take a little look-see here at this, Grumpy.
Oh.
Let's see how many Islanders are on this list here for top 50 prospects. Connor Bedard, Adam Fantilli, Leo Carlsson there by the Ducks, Mateev Michkov by the Flyers, Luke Hughes by the Devils, Logan Cooley, Coyotes, Simon Nemec, Devils, David Jiricek, Blackhawks,
Blue Jackets.
Blue Jackets. Sorry. What did I call them?
Blackhawks.
Blue Jackets. Thank you. Kadaguthier, Flyers, Will Smith for the Sharks. Let's take a little look here. Let's see. Let's just look. Simon Edvinsson. Let's just look for the Islanders players here. Okay. Well, we see there Toronto. They trade away first-round picks pretty much every year. Pavel Minyakov. Let's see here. Okay. I'm not seeing any Islanders in the top 30. No. Maybe we'll have a little bit more luck from 30 to 50. Oh, wow. There's Gabe Perreault, Grumpy, who the Rangers got late. Perreault, I'm sorry.
I don't see one Islander on there. Not a one.
Oh, no. Look at how many. Oh, my gosh. There's 2 Rangers, too, with all the few draft picks with a miserable system they have. Okay, gotcha.
Okay, you know what I noticed?
Matthew Maggio and William Dufour.
I noticed quite a few Columbus Blue Jackets on that list.
and a few Philadelphia Flyers.
And that's not to say that all these players are going to pan out, but you know what it does say? That the Islanders prospect pool sucks. And everyone knows it.
Look at the top comment. Not a single Islander. Lou is great. Oh, God. Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah, no Islanders up on this list. Now, here's the thing: prospect rankings are not end all be all, but usually it means something if you've got none in the top 50.
Year after year after year after year. You want to know who's never on a top 50 list? Simon Holmstrom. The fact that that embarrassment is on an NHL roster.
I do need to write though to whoever came out with those rankings, because I do notice that they omitted William Dufour and as well as Matthew Maggio, and those guys are both those guys are both tops, bona fide top 6 players.
They'll probably send you an email back.
We've heard it from the fan base.
No, this is the response you're going to get. They're going to send you an email back saying this was a list of 50, not 250. That's what they'll say.
Tony Cheese says that Barry Trotz style of play probably aged everyone on the team. Yes.
No, I don't think it ages everyone. I don't think it ages you, but what it does is you got to remember we were playing that. We didn't really have a whole lot of injuries. I mean, you had to be in shape to play that for certain, but what it does is you're not allowed to, if you had offensive talent, it's tough to show it when you're just playing defense. And the whole thing is, as you get older, it requires so much commitment that the body just kind of breaks down the older you get. I'm telling you that from personal experience.
I will say, I think it does age players. When you ask, there is no loafing. There is no ability to turn it off. There is no ability. Now, here's the thing. That's the reason why you don't concede a lot of goals, right? Is because there is no turning it off. There is no hitting the off button or kind of hitting the snooze button. It's 100% every single shift you're out there, all 200 feet. That's going to wear more on your body. It's like the same thing with a running back, saying if a running back had 200 carries a year compared to 150 carries a year, the guy who's got less carries, the guy they're asking to do less for physically, might have a chance to have more longevity in his career. Same thing. Tony Cheese says to that 2-star review, thumbs down. Oh, no, Tony Cheese. John D. Grumpy says, maybe he said thumbs down, 2-star review to Barry Trotz's style. I don't know. John D says here, sometimes I wish Snow would come back. He would have money to spend, and he did a better job drafting and making trades than this moron. And you're right, Grumpy. No COVID, no playoffs.
That's 100% true. Now, I don't wish Garth Snow would come back.
He was not the answer.
Can you leave that comment up, please, so I can address it real quick?
Sure.
He would have the money to spend. He was good at drafting. He never traded draft picks, just didn't do it.
He also missed on a lot of draft picks, though, too.
Yeah, but he was always picking, for the most part, top 10 every year. So when you're picking top 10, and we're close to top 10 now, but here's where Lamoriello, with trading all those picks, you're picking in the 30s and the 40s. The level of prospect just isn't there. And I'll give that Luna's defense. But it's not like trading for those players has really benefited us.
I want to interrupt you because you're wrong. Garth Snow did a much better job drafting rounds 3 and later than he ever did drafting in the first round. Look at how many of the selections we have that are on this current team, or even look at the second round or later that have come out to be superstar-studded players or been guys who've been consistent NHLers. I mean, the majority of the guys Snow drafted that have been successful, all were not first-round picks.
True. But here's the thing. I just think the more kicks of the can you have.
Sure, I'm just talking about simply from the drafting perspective. He did a lot better job drafting individuals that were not in the first round. He did a lot better job of when he had those kicks at the cans, identifying players who could be successful. Because look at it, right? Like Sebastian Aho, he was a Garth Snow guy. He's up there now. Kiefer Bellows was the Garth Snow guy. The 2016 draft, we didn't really have much. Golashev, Koivula, Colin Adams, David Quinville, etc. You had Matt Barzal, Anthony Bavillia in the first round of 2015. Really, that was it. 2014, Sorokin is a third round. Devon Taves is a fourth rounder. Those are guys who are both top 10, I'd say, in their profession.
Okay.
What the
That's
fuck?
Fair. I'm having a drink. Is that okay? Why don't you go take another 4-hour shit or piss or whatever it is you got to do?
Believe it or not, I was saying goodnight to the lovely Paige before she went to bed, Grump. She just got off of work. So
You're
that's
like
what I was doing.
Freaking tyrant, man. I just had to wet my whistle a little bit.
I just
hear your mouth.
I wonder what this was like. You're just trying to whistle or something. I don't know. Pellick was.
I was trying to drink a little bit. Is that okay with you?
No, it's not okay. I'm just saying, there's been a lot of these selections. They were able to identify
You're a
guys in
shitty
later draft
host.
picks. That's me. They had a lot of these guys. They had a lot of selections in later draft picks that they were able to identify under Gar Snow. They missed on a lot of first round picks. Gar Snow never could bring a legitimate coach here. That simple. And we were a laughing stock of an organization under Gar Snow.
I think it was tough to get a coach to come there. Remember, he didn't have any money.
Sure.
Okay, that was a big thing. So everyone's here on the cheap.
Yep.
Those are just facts.
Yeah. And it's like if they did have money, how would things look different? JP, grumpy old man.
Oh, well, that's when you know the league has consumers coming and going, Rick and Drew, when they have us peons turning on each other, Long Island and Quebec, over something that's totally controlled.
They can totally control.
Okay.
Talking about if it's going to move or anything like that. Tony Cheese says here, I remember when Game 7 was lost to Tampa Bay in the Eastern Conference Finals, and Grump said this would have been the best Islanders, or the best chance for the Islanders to win a cup. That's because they were a team that shouldn't have gotten there, or shouldn't have gotten that far.
True.
Doug R.
I said that after that, I said, this is the high point.
Yeah.
I said,
you
break it down from now. That's as good as it's going to get with this group of players, is what I said. They should have made changes after the first year. And after the second one, absolutely. And they didn't. They just rode the same guys out there, bringing in a Palmieri or a Pajot or whoever they brought in as in-season trades. But they did nothing in the offseason. It's inexcusable. It really is.
Doug R. said, any word on when they're announcing his hockey trade?
There is none.
There those hockey trades.
There will be none.
Michael Bechet, grumpy.
This is very difficult listening to the show. It's 3 a.m. in Switzerland. Be back next week.
Well, thanks so much, Michael, for tuning in. Man, he's up there partying on a Saturday at 3 a.m. Oh, that's nice on there, Michael. We're jealous. Are you there? Does he live in Switzerland? Is he there on vacation?
Google says, Grumpy, looking back, what would you say was the prime of your career? It depends on which portion of my career you're talking about.
Your career, your life.
Tony Cheese says those two.
Hold on. All the items that you'll answer, but you won't answer when the prime of your career was?
Because we have to be more. What portion of my career are you talking about?
Your entire life, Grumpy. When was the prime?
I'm still in my prime.
I knew he was going to say some shit like that. I was waiting for that to be the answer. I knew it would be the answer. Okay, Tony Cheese here, Grumpy.
Those two Freudian slip, Eastern conferences, we got really effed us up. Give them an excuse to double down. That's what it is. Just an excuse. Drew said, and the sad thing about all that is that Palmieri has probably been the best out of all the trade acquisitions from Lou, and is still grossly overpaid. He's just been average for us.
I think Jean-Gabriel Pajot probably is the best from the trades, right? But it's they're both similar.
They're all the same.
Tony Cheese, Grumpy.
Tony Cheese says they won't stay if you don't overpay and overcommit. Well, that's a problem. See, they don't have. Remember, the Islanders. You know what? They lead the league in freaking excuses every single year, and the fan base just buy right into it. The losers of the fan base just buy right into that shit. It's because of the stadium. It's because of the arena. It's because of this. It's because of that. It's because of ownership. No, they just don't want to go there. You're not the Rangers. You're not an attractive spot. Your team sucks. You had a tyrant who won't let you grow a mustache or a beard. You had a guy who won't let you play offense. That's not attractive to free agents. It just isn't, particularly the type that we need, guys who put the pucks in the net.
Yes.
Tony Cheese says
here, yes, that's why Lou should have never traded for him in the first place. Tony Cheese saying here, he gave up all of those picks. Imagine if they walked. He would look even worse, trading away first-round picks for guys when guys eliminated any leverage that he had in negotiations.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. Freedom, fun, and adventure, Grumpy.
I'm at the gym getting huge. Have a great show.
Freedom, fun, and adventure. That's what I like hearing, man. And after watching TJ and X,
am I not reading the comment?
Okay, that's fine. You read the comment. I don't give a shit.
I mean, I was reading the comment, then you jumped in. It says, after watching TJ and X, I understand why it took Grumpy years to admit TJ was his son or that X even existed. Cool dad, Pokemon loving sons. Shake my head.
Oh, no. This is some call-in show, says Tony Cheese. Yeah, I guess we did a mid-show audible. Once Grumpy took us down that fucking rabbit hole, I'm like,
Oh yeah, it's my fault. It's typical TJ. No matter what
yeah,
happened, it
it's
wasn't
Grumpy's fault.
TJ wandering away for a half hour. That had nothing to do with it.
I didn't
It's
wander
my
away for a freaking half hour. Please stop.
Tony Cheese
Tony
says, "Oh
Cheese.
shit, TJ's younger than me."
That's right. Drew L. Grumpy.
I Indiana Jones personally. He doesn't say if he liked it or not. I'm going to say he hated it. I thought it dragged on a bit. I also thought the whole time travel plane scene was cool. So it was kind of cheesy, but it felt like it was the last of the series. I heard it sucked.
He said he liked it personally.
Drew says, personally, as heartbreaking as my preferred ending would be, I would have liked it if Indy stayed in the siege of Syracuse and rewrote history there instead of going back to 1969.
Hold on, he's now time traveling in Indiana Jones.
It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah,
Here's the thing: when you look up bomb in the dictionary, they show Harrison Ford and Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
Okay, I will say this: all of these different like multiverse bullshits,
I don't like them. It's
I'm
lazy.
done.
It's you don't even go see movies. You're not even qualified to say, hold on. You're not even qualified to say what you like and don't like about movies because you don't watch movies. No. Here's the thing. I don't like them because it's lazy writing because they can't write a coherent from point A to point B story. So they have, let's take a bunch of short stories, put them in different timelines and just merge them together and say the multiverse. It's all horseshit. Joseph C says, feels like the Islanders paid for a guy coming off a career year like the Rangers did Trouba and the Flames paying Kadri, although he's a better player than those two.
I'm not sure he's that much better than those two.
I don't think he's better. I don't know if he's better than Kadri.
I was about to say, I think he's better than Trouba, but I'm not sure about Kadri.
Trouba plays defense, so it's different, just different.
Then she says, where's Frank? The comments aren't creepy enough yet. Frank's a dog. Ari45 said that Horvat contract will age terribly. I tell you that for free. I'll tell you that for free.
That's true. It's 8 years is way too much for him.
There it is, Frank.
Hey, Grumpmeister and TJ. Drew says, dreaming is what the Lamanites do. Don't you get it, Grumpy? The curve doesn't sleep. That's for the weak. That's very true.
There it is. Mario Grumpy.
Ryan Kessler, Grumpy old man, you should patent whatever you're smoking.
Yes, Ryan Kessler is much better than Bo
Ryan
Dorman.
Kessler was good, man.
He's great. I love you, man. But we're fucking. Oh, I don't even know. Oh, but TJ. Oh my God. Drew says here, TJ, can you explain to Grumpy who Anders Lee is again? Isn't he a poor man's Dave Anderchuk? I'd say so. He's kind of like he's like a really poor man's Dave Anderchuk, Grumpy. They both play that similar style. Probably a poor man's Dave Anderchuk. Wouldn't you agree, Grumpy?
Dave Anderchuk. You know what? Now you're going to make me do it. You're going to make me pull up the stats because I'm just, you keep on saying this. Anders Lee. I'm interested to see how many goals this piece of shit's had over his career.
You just want me to pull it up, Grumpy?
678 games. He has 240 goals, 176 assists, 416 points. So not even he's maybe 2/3 of a point a game for him. And he came, you want to know his awards? He came in 9th. That's right, 9th in the Calder Trophy race. So
okay, Anderchuk had no awards. Anderchuk had 0 awards. He just won a cup. One cup won.
That's not true. That's not true.
I'm looking at it right now. Look at it right now. Pull up the screen.
He's made all-star teams. He's made all-star 13th team, 4th team, 7th team, 4th team, 3rd team, 3rd team, 3rd team, 3rd team. Selke with the 11th. All-star.
Hold on. Stop. He's never won an award.
You want to know who's not even been in consideration for an award? Anders freaking Lee. I told you the only award he was 9th in the Calder race.
He's never won an award, just like Dave Anderchuk's never won an award. Dave Anderchuk plopped his ass in front of the net, redirected pucks, won the hard battles, and that's the same thing that freaking Anders Lee does.
640 goals, 698 assists, 1,338 points. You know how many years Anders Lee would have to play to get those numbers? He'd have to play 78 years in the league to come close to those numbers. He sucks. He's not a poor man's Dave Anderchuk. Not in fact, I used to say he was a broke-ass man's Dave Anderchuk. He's not even Dave Anderchuk's dog. That's how fucking bad he is. He sucks.
Rick Roma says Kessler played with more edge than Bo Dormat, and he was borderline dirty. I'd rather have Ryan Kessler. Yep.
He was chippy. Kessler was chippy. I love
Kessler
Kessler.
was a freaking difference maker. Bo Horvat is a freaking he's just a jag. You right, two Pop said Grumpy Old Man's for bum hurt back. Oh, I like that one. Really exposes his low hockey IQ. Bum hurtback's contract will be the anchor to the Islanders' sinking ship in a year or two.
It'll be more than a year or two. The contract's not going to age well. But it was not a good contract. I never said it was.
I like bum hurtback.
Yeah.
Bum doormat, bum hurtback. They're all good. They're all great. I hope here's the thing, all seriousness. I do think he plays better. Do I think I think the expectation is he's got to put up at least 70 points this year.
I think it's possible.
Anything less than that's a disappointment, in my opinion.
It depends on what style we play. If we want to play defensive style, he's not going to
playing on a first power play, playing on the same line with Matt Barzal, an ultimate fantastic creator. Guess what? Time for you to pony up, nut up, and put up some freaking points into that. Play like you're fighting for a contract extension this year, buddy. Can we get the same effort level maybe out of you?
He should be better because his family's going to be all moved in now.
Yeah. Frank says here, you're so freaking wrong, dude. He's going to kill it. And your comment will be as stupid as your name. Frank. Watch out, guys. TJ doesn't do math without a Texas Instrument calculator. Oh, God. Sorry, had a rough day on the golf course, says Frank. Drew L says here, a legend once says 2 + 2 is 4, -1. That's 3 quick maths. Oh, that's a little rap song, I think. Ari45 says here, I agree with TJ on this one. Talking about Ryan Kessler. Absolutely. TJ's literally wrong about everything.
Wow, everything. Not just some things, everything.
JP Grumpy.
I was wrong about my fantasy roster construction to this point. I've been taking some shots straight to the jaw in their league last 3 weeks or so.
It's never fun. I was about to say, football's come up. When football comes up, we're going to have a league. We'll have a league draft for the Islanders Never Say Die League. That'll be a fun one, Grumpy.
Mm-hmm.
A good one. And then, hey, Grumpy, I'll let you read this one.
Somebody, HOPENY, my bussy.
I like that one. Zach was good today, Zach Wilson. Drew L says, want to start your chronic drinking problem? Call 1-800-HOPENY. Oh, God. Goon says, TJ has been doing better with the ad reads lately. Has he been practicing, meditating, or procrastinating?
I don't know, but he has been doing it. It's been noticeable.
There it is. Thank you. I appreciate it. Hold on, Grumpy. Hold on. There it is. Well, here's the thing. The cats had moved in all the volume buttons there when they were playing with the little volume knobs earlier, so I had them all messed up. JP says, one of the main reasons I know the NHL doesn't give a damn about player safety and head safety is the modern equipment scares that skaters wear. Now it's psychotic.
I don't think anyone cares about any of the players getting hurt or not. They just bow to public pressure. They don't give a shit. They could care if the players die on the ice. They really could care less. They just slide somebody else in there as long as it doesn't affect their cap hit. That's all they care about. They don't care about the players in any sport. TJ says there's got to be technology to make lightweight equipment that won't inherently knock someone into the middle of the next week. Let's put titanium on them. They could all wear titanium.
Frank says here, Lou won't sell. He knows that Father Time is eyeing his freaking ass.
You know what? I'll tell you what. The Grim Reaper's like sharpening his sickle for him.
Read the rest of this comment, Grumpy. Read this whole comment.
Okay. Lou won't sell because he knows Father Time is eyeing his ass. And he didn't earn any bonus points by sitting in a chair by the elevator as he fired people, left the building. Payback is a bitch, Lou. LOL.
Oh my God.
That's true.
He said he's running now on borrowed time because when he fired all those people from Jersey, he watched them all leave on the elevator and chuckled at him and laughed at him.
Well, he means he's going downstairs instead of upstairs. That's what I think it means.
JP said,
I need a better spell check, LOL. It changes where to where. Thanks, IT guys.
Joseph C says here,
that's a big market thing, to be honest. The Yankees did the same thing. Those teams would rather have that playoff revenue than do the right thing and start over. Well, Yankees won't be getting that revenue this year.
Goon,
Goon says,
Grumpy.
I know we've discussed this before, but for however badly the Mets suck, the teat, they did the right thing by unloading at the trade deadline, unlike our beloved Islanders. Very, very true. JP says, true, Joe. Like the New York Islanders owners, they don't care. Cohen cares. He's not always correct, but he gives a damn. That's clear. Wish he owned the Islanders. Joseph C. said the Knicks did the same thing for years, tried to be an 8th seed, regardless of how stupid it was. Drew says, Grumpy, they're not playing Call of Duty. This isn't one in the chamber.
That's a game mode in Call of Duty, Grumpy.
Okay. I don't know anything about that. Tony Cheese says, I wish that you play Russian roulette, Drew, like Deer Hunter Russian roulette. That's what I was thinking. Mow, mow, mow. JP says, the crazy thing about the New York Islander history is the cogent argument can be made that Marilyn Pickett, John's spouse until late April of 1983, was the main reason their best years happened.
Joseph C. says here, doubling down on mediocrity is so myopic. It's why other cities build dynasties, why New York hasn't had a dynasty since the 90s.
Very true.
JP, Grumpy.
John Pickett bought shares of the Islanders when Roy Bowe was an owner for his spouse. He didn't even care about hockey. She did. Thanks, Marilyn. Tony Cheese goes, what's this team going to look like in 8 years? Well, we're still going to have Bo Horvat, and we're going to have Matt Barzell and Adam Pelech and Ryan Pulak. Going to have a lot of the guys still going to be here.
I don't know.
Engvall, Mayfield.
SAT word alert. Myopic. JP, Grumpy.
Al Arbor said in Prado's book that John Pickett stopped coming around and showing face after the divorce.
And sorry, nearsighted is more of TJ's line. Look at him. Look at the shots I'm taking over here. Myopic Lou Ron Dullard. Tony. There it is. Frank says, we'll be fine. It will all work out. Frank, I wish I just had that much optimism. Manu GMs or many GMs would want to manage one of the greatest teams in sports history. That's a fact. Hold on. Frank, we're not one of the greatest teams in sports history. We did have one of the greatest dynasties in NHL history.
Okay.
I'd agree with you on that.
Okay. They're one of the top 32 teams in the world, 32 hockey teams in the world. So you could say that,
Yeah, it's just like when people say, well, he's a quarterback in the NFL. That means he's good because he's made it to the NFL. Well, okay. We're talking comparatively to everybody else who's there. JP, Grumpy.
Grumpy, these owners are disingenuous at best. If they don't know hockey, they could get people around them who do. They want their peripheral revenue streams. Now, they went to Bettman, and he told them to take Lamoriello. And they just, we bow to the temple of loser.
Oh, God.
JP says they couldn't care less about hockey ops until optics forced them to. Absolutely. If you want to go in there and you want to boo the team every night and say, something creative to get rid of Lamoriello, that's what you need to do.
There it is. Joseph C. said, it's a young man's game, not just on the ice, but in the front office as well.
Agreed.
Ross Johnson is Phil's whipping boy. Ross Johnson would tower over Phil. He'd tower over him, Ross Johnson.
If Ross Johnson was in a room with Phil would be, they'd be slurping up all over him. He would.
Ross Johnson.
He wouldn't be talking his shit.
Ross Johnson's around the same size as me, isn't he? He's probably a little skinnier than I am.
He's definitely skinnier than you are. Absolutely is.
Oh man, much love from Portugal, says HP Carlos. What's up, HP? How are you? TJ, did you identify as a pirate growing up?
Arr.
Oh, arg. What's up, the Islanders? Never say die. Panel and chat. What's up? Tony G said TJ identified as a Pixar character growing up. Just can't figure out which one.
Son X called you a certain Pixar character. Do you remember?
Lotso the bear.
Nope, it wasn't Lotso.
He called me a lot of things as a kid, so I really don't know.
Look at me. I'm a beautiful little butterfly.
Oh, okay. The caterpillar from Bugs Life.
Yes, the caterpillar.
D-Cut says here, the Islanders actually have won 6 series under Lazy Lou. Year 1. Oh, okay. No. We're not giving them the play-in round.
They don't get the Panthers. They don't get the play-in round. No.
No, I thought it was the Flyers were the playing round.
The Panthers were the playing round. The Panthers were the playing round.
Okay.
No,
Yeah,
you don't get credit for that one.
How many games was it? Is it best of 3 series or something like that?
Yeah.
It was like all 20 teams have a chance to compete like that, or that doesn't count. Yeah, no, not happening. Frank says here we are not screwed. 7 to 10 years. What is wrong with you people? Oh my God, sports turn around nowadays in 3 to 4 years max.
You're saddled with so many contracts to average players for long term. That's the problem. Too much money, too much term for too little talented players. That's the issue. That's what makes it tough to turn around.
Grumpy Tony Cheese.
Just want to say I love linguiça. I don't know what that is.
I was hoping you did. My wife makes them from scratch. I don't know what this is. This must be
sounds like a food item.
I want this Portuguese. Okay. Hold on. Tony Cheese is married. I thought Tony Cheese just had a baby mama. Now he's married. Okay. We find out more and more about the Tony Cheese. Drew L says, I'm looking forward to having Daniel Freeman on, TJ. Make it happen. We're going to have Andy Francis. We're going to have Nicole. I want to reach out to Stefan. There's a whole bunch of people we got to get back on the show that we're looking to have back on the show here before the season starts. Only 63 days, Grumpy. That's a lot of podcasts. We'll be doing the math. We're only looking at how many, Grumpy? You're looking at like 9 or looking at 9 different weeks. So you're looking at a total of like 18 possible shows. I'm going to be gone for some of those weeks too, and you'll be gone too. So
what a shock!
A lot of time.
I'm not. Where am I going? I'm not going. When you want to have a show, it's because you're not there.
D-Cut says here, playoff series victories since lackluster Lou took over. Penguins 0, Capitals 0, Leafs 1, Rangers 2. The Rangers. That's right. They got booted out of the first round. Yeah, the Rangers also had a rebuild in there too. So I'll be interested to see how many going forward they're going to have. But let's see here. Making Portuguese moon wine here. Okay. Or moonshine. Okay. The hitless NHL, says HP Carlos. Joseph C said, I can't blame guys for not hitting as much. More hits equals shorter careers. Look at guys like Eric Lindros. Yep. Then JP Grumpy.
I don't know anyone who watched this last cup tournament who said there was no hitting. I have to question if they know what they're watching. That LA Edmonton series sure as hell had hitting.
The playoffs have hitting, but the regular season does not.
Yeah, it does not.
And it's only a matter of time before that bleeds over into the postseason. So did most of Florida's series as well. Joseph C says here, the hitting and physicality steps up in the playoffs, but teams do not want to be in the penalty box. Homemade pastrami is awfully good.
If we can skip all of the food comments.
Hold on.
Every one of them. Just because you eat a lot of food and anything does not mean we need to talk about it. We can skip those.
JP Grumpy.
My ex-wife was Dominican, but her nuclear family didn't eat pork. Another food comment. Skip the food comments.
Grumpy, come on, man. Did you eat dinner tonight? Is that why you're all upset?
I did not eat dinner, but I don't need to talk about food. Watch the Devils trade one of their highly touted prospects for Connor Hellebuyck and make a cup run. I think that's what they're really missing. We knew they weren't going to do much in the playoffs last year. I was surprised they beat the Rangers because you have to kind of learn how to lose to win, if you know what I mean.
They
need a goalie. And they have plenty of ammunition to trade for one. Brian Jennings says, you can't score, you can't win. It's that simple. Stop it, delusional people. This is a young man's NHL. Drew says, I heard that Will Smith on the Sharks is quite the goon. From what I heard about the scouting report, he's a very good slapper. Just ask Chris Rock.
There it is, Grumpy.
And he's more of an LA Kings guy, though. Vinny Smith says, Grumpy old man, usually agree with you, but last week you said 13-8 and the goalie as keepers. Why? By the time we'll be good, they'll be gone. The goaltender's the only one who I consider in the prime of his career at 28 years old. Barzell's 26 and Dobson's 24. I mean, if you want to trade everybody, okay, but those would be the guys I keep. JP says President Camacho would Will Smith most of his Congress if he were elected president of the U.S. in 2020 FO.
For show. Okay. It's a show. And then we got here. So to simplify that, Grumpy and TJ, playing the trot style just causes your body to wear down and tear down faster. Yeah, I think so. And that's no problem. I mean, like, everybody has a finite amount of, tread on the tires, if you understand what I'm saying. So Josh Bailey was a first round pick under that Gar Snow guy, says
Oh, he
Tony.
was a success.
Oh, man. And then Rick Roma says a 4-hour shit. Please stop. D-cut, Grumpy.
Snow Job was the world's biggest douche. I was at an informal Q&A with him, and he was shitting on every question, asked about why a team had 3 goalies on his roster that season. He said, if I wanted to have 20 goals on a roster, I can. And then the follow-up would have been, okay, I understand you could, but why? What kind of a dumbass move would you do? Why would you do that as a dumbass move?
You know what? I'll put it like this. Wouldn't it be nice if the media cartel were to ask the same tough questions they did to Gar Snow to our new fearless leader, Lou Lamoriello? Wouldn't that be nice?
None of those allowed. They'll drag you out by your, they'll pull off your toenails and fingernails.
Tony Cheese says I butchered his comment.
Which one? Could be one of 100.
Man, we would have smoked Montreal and we would have won the cup. Imagine if we just would have got by Game 7.
You didn't. So it didn't happen. I probably would have lost to Montreal.
Let's have UBS Arena empty. Oh, God.
He said USB Arena.
Goon Grumpy.
Tony Cheese, I just remembered an underrated cheese. Okay, that's a food one. Move on.
No. Can we read this one, please?
No.
I think
no
it has
food comments.
I have an underrated cheese.
Then there's a whole string of food comments. No food comments.
Tyrannical tyrant Grumpy, huh? Smoked Gouda.
This is not the This is not the Galloping Gourmet Show with Graham Kerr. It's not that.
This is the Galloping Gourmet Show with Graham Grant. Sharp provolone. Graham Kerr. Sharp provolone. That's good. I like provolone with Italian bread and red wine. It's tough to beat. You know what I like? I like, oh man, what's the hell? Is it brie? Maybe brie. I like to put that in the oven like that, warm cheese like that, brie. Oh, Grumpy. You get that warm cheese and you just go ahead and like grab yourself some crackers, you eat it on. That's good stuff now. Grumpy, what's your favorite type of cheese?
Move to the next question, please.
Grumpy, I need to know what your favorite type of cheese is.
Next question.
Oh man, Grumpy. Here you go. Frank Grumpy.
Grumpy old man. F that crap. I don't understand. I don't accept we aren't the Rangers. That's a joke. Who are the Rangers? Because they play in Manhattan? They won the cup in 94. We won 4 cups in a row. They never won that many. That's true. But you know what? They won the most recent cup. We haven't won a cup. This is going to be going on 40 years.
Hey, just by pure luck, we should have one coming on our way, Grumpy.
How long did Moses wander the desert? Wasn't it 40 years?
40 years, I think.
I mean, Moses had it easier than Islander fans.
No, he did not.
How bad it is.
That's sacrilege. Come on, Grumpy. Harrison Ford would be a youngster on our roster.
He'd be a rookie. No. He'd be our new young buck coming up.
Tony Cheese, Grumpy. This is something you like about these freaking movies.
Monsterverse, ridiculous. Move on.
No, Tony Cheese says I'm all about the Monsterverse. I love me some Godzilla. Sharp provolone, Grumpy. Yeah, there it is. Dull provolone. Grumpy. I heard the Nashville Predators fans were chanting against you because of the call, because of the call and show blunder. They're saying you suck. It's all your fault. You suck. It's all your fault. Drew, I don't know why they would be saying that to the Grumpy.
I don't know.
Gungun
says, I agree with Grumpy. The new tweak logo deserves to be on a shirt. Will TJ make Grumpy proud or remain on his cloud?
I gotta maybe we'll get it on the shirt. I gotta upload it everywhere to get it all across all platforms here first. Tony Cheese says, my last name means John Cheese in Italian. I don't know. Shit about cheese. Look at all these cheese comments, Grumpy. Who doesn't love cheese? JP Grumpy.
What about one here from Frank? The Islanders need to have a carrier. It's higher up. There we go. The Islanders need to have carrier years and carry us to the promised land. I'm tired of all this BS. It's getting old. Just freaking will it to happen, damn it. Yeah. That's not the way it works, Frank. JP says, TJ, come on. I usually try to take your side, but comparing Anders Lee to Dave Andreychuk is crazy.
I usually say Anders Lee is a broke man's Dave Andreychuk, a poor man's Dave Andreychuk. And Grumpy says, it's a broke ass man, Steve Andrewchuk. Let's continue on though. Here you go, Grumpy JP.
It's another food comment. Move on. Move along.
Goon Grumpy.
DJ, I challenge you to try and properly pronounce this ex-NHL player's name.
Reijo Ruotsalainen.
What's his name?
Reijo Ruotsalainen.
Reijo Ruotsalainen. That's
Motherfucker,
wrong.
that's correct. Reijo Ruotsalainen.
It's Rio.
Okay.
Reijo
Ruotsalainen. Hey, Grumpy, you'll like this one because it's about freaking movies. You'll read this one. You don't like food comments. You'll discriminate against
He
food
would put
comments,
in being bum blasted in the back room in Pulp Fiction while Bruce escapes. Distraction is all he's useful for. That's true.
Grumpy loves himself.
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
Drew says, well, the season starts in 3 weeks, TJ. Also, I can't do August 27th. I don't know what that. Oh, talking about maybe football. JK says, Bo Horvat's name can lead to too many is it pejorative nicknames, i.e. bored doormat. There it is. Bored doormat. There's a lot of the good ones. That's easy. JP says here, please do a hockey fantasy league with me. It's my only path to sanity this coming season. I don't know shit about the NFL football anymore. Okay, we'll do a hockey one too. We'll do a hockey.
Yeah, we're definitely doing a hockey one.
Hey, you're Grumpy.
Tony Chi says we should do a segment where Drew is invited to talk about basketball and then cut it short every time when he's talking about the Knicks and Patrick Ewing's pubes.
Okay,
that's fair.
Oh no. Okay, here you go. Frank Grumpy.
I used to like Lee, even like a year ago, but last year he lost every puck battle in the quarter, every one. He skates like garbage. And I don't see the fire in him for $7 million. Are you kidding me? Frank, he sucked forever. It was a mistake signing to that deal. We said about it here. Like I said, Frank, just listen to me. I'll tell you who's going to suck and who's going to be good. I told you he's going to suck.
Tony Cheese Grumpy.
Can we show one of the pictures of your cats, preferably the one where he makes a spectacular catch against the Dallas Cowboys?
Yes, shoot them to me in this. I was gonna show them on tomorrow's show, but shoot them to me in this the Islanders Never Say Die Twitter page. Here we go. Here, Goon Grumpy.
How did Bobby D escape playing Russian roulette 2 times in the Deer Hunter? Didn't that seem awfully dangerous? It was dangerous. Just the luck of the draw.
Okay, here we go. Frank says, TJ, where's Nicole? I messed up. I goofed up. It's Wednesday. She's coming on. And TJ, Grumpy, man, we won 4 cups out of 5 cups in a row. No one else besides, we won 4 cups in a row. Yeah. Nobody else besides the Canadians could do that. So that makes us a great team in history. You guys forget that because of your absurdly bashing them all the time. No, I think we had one of the greatest dynasties.
You're busy bashing them all the time.
We had one of the greatest dynasties.
Yeah.
I think they're in all of sports.
But it was 40 years. It's 40 years ago. It's 40 years ago.
I was about to say,
that has no bearing.
No.
It has no bearing. I mean, if you think historically this franchise, the best 10, 12 years of this franchise were the first 10 and 12. Everything's been downhill since then. We had the 93 Cup run where we lost to Montreal. Other than that, we've been pretty much not a great team. Gungu says, do you think Phil even sleeps in his white button shirts? Are they starched? I think they are starched, and he does sleep in them.
Oh, no. Tony Cheese did send this one there, Grumpy, that you may be like, I think this is Charlotte, and you're going to go ahead and eat her. I don't know.
Oh,
I do like the little face. I don't even know where the hell the cat is. It's tough on that one. He sent me a whole bunch of ones that we'll show tomorrow.
Maybe I threw up the cat. Blah. Projectile.
That could be it too. Bug's Life was DreamWorks, Grumpy, not Pixar. Tisk, Grumpy. Tisk.
No, Bug's Life was not DreamWorks, Tony. No.
Are you sure?
Absolutely. You're going to question me on movies? Really?
Put Curtis says, boys. How we doing?
Ants was DreamWorks. Ants was DreamWorks.
Fuck yeah. Bring back on Rosner. I know. We'll reach out to Stefan. I just got to actually do that today after work. I don't know. Just didn't do it.
Drew says you can have Son X do the podcast.
That's true. We could. Let's load up Son X. He would do a good job, I think, in this. Gungun says, Who was the most controversial figure in Islanders history? John Spano, Rick DiPietro, or Brett Lindros?
Spano was the worst.
Who's second worst?
It doesn't
DiPietro,
matter.
Rick
He asked who the worst
DiPietro, or
was. It
Brett
was
Lindros?
Spano.
Oh, man. Look at this, Grumpy. Competitive skateboarding, Punta Curtis says, hey, yo, boys, what's popping? And let's see here. I'm just trying to get to Graham Kerr. Laughing out loud, JP is.
Yeah.
The
Galloping Gourmet.
Nice cat. Moses didn't get in either, Grumpy. Is what JP said. Oh, shit. Moses didn't get in either. Didn't get the Holy Land. Yeah. Frank says here, yes, Grumpy laughed mass off Moses. So we're due for a cup, is what you're saying. Not until Moses. Yeah, Moses died before he did get the promised land. Yeah. Brian Jennings says, you know what I like? A hockey podcast talking hockey. However, you can only talk about sucking for so long. Islanders. Perhaps we can talk about tapestries and food. WTF? Oh, man. There you go. Drew L. Grumpy.
I don't know. I think Elizabeth Francis would be a young person on our roster. TJ, look up who she is.
Oh, gosh.
Speaking of movies, was it a major mistake on the Rocky series? It goes over everyone's head. Oof. What is the major mistake on the Rocky series? It goes by everybody's head. I don't know. It wasn't a documentary. I remember when I was a kid, when I saw Rocky, I'm like, hey, that last round wasn't 3 minutes. It's a freaking movie, jackass. That's what I would say to somebody now. But at the time, I'm like, what the hell? Rocky would have won if you actually gave him 3 minutes.
Long story short, Elizabeth Francis is 114 years old.
Oh, okay.
So yes, she's a little older there. D-Cut says a shirt that would sell terrifically would be listing the top-notch nicknames TJ stole from D-Cut. Oh man.
I don't think we'd have enough shirt to print all that stuff out.
There you go.
Mario says Rocky Balboa could never be the Italian stallion, as Balboa is not an Italian lassie name. It's a Hispanic last name. Okay.
Andrew Chuck
or Howard Chuck. Howard Chuck.
Better than Andrew Chuck, huh?
Absolutely.
I didn't watch them play enough to give any sort of valid opinion. Matthew C said the Islanders have done nothing to improve.
True.
Yep. That's the unfortunate portion of it. Tony Cheese says Lee was the gimp.
Oh, shit. Actually, I thought that Bailey would have been the gimp.
My Little Brownie says, I think the Islanders will have a new or do you think the Islanders are going to have a new retro jersey this season?
Nope. I think they're going to roll back the same garbagey jersey from last year. It would require the old man actually doing something in the offseason. D-Cut, he pretends to, now he lays out all these nicknames. Now, I'm going to say, D-Cut, this is what a lot of people do, and you've done it here, but I'm going to read the whole thing. College Quinn, the Three Amigos, the Fire Hydrant, the Ballerina, No Hit Noah, Lazy Lou, and tons more. Whenever you say tons more, that means you ran out of the names you gave. So there's not tons more, but that is a lot. Oh, Lee is the team's Captain Fluffer.
Who the hell is Captain Fluffer?
What a fluffer is in porn movies, they have a guy who fluffs up the guy to make sure he's hard to do a scene.
Jesus Christ.
And it's Anders Lee.
Mario
says it comes from a Galician town, called Balboa. That was from a Roman town named Villabona. Okay. I'm just going to agree with you, Mario, because I have no idea. Drew says a pro move by the organization would be if Lou traded for Bobby Brink. Then the sound team would have a Hank Hill sound effect. And every time Brink screwed up, we'd say, God damn it, Bobby.
Oh,
God
shit.
damn it, Bobby. I can't do that.
I hope if we traded for Bobby Brink, he would be up in the NHL roster, but who knows? Howard Chuck by a mile, says Brian Jennings. 93. If our main star wasn't spotted by
that scumbag Capital player, Dale Hunter, we would have won the cup. We were hot before his injury. Imagine we win in 93 and 94. Wow. Losing Turgeon hurt us. He did come back against Montreal. Montreal, that was Patrick Roy's year. And they won. I don't know how many games they beat us in overtime. But that series against Montreal was tight. It really was.
Brian Jennings, Grumpy.
The Islanders are like watching 5 Roombas with hockey sticks. Wow.
Jesus Christ.
They're slow and methodical. They are.
Funny Curtis says, boys.
I just want to say thanks. I live away from the Islanders now, and it's hard to find people who talk hockey in general, and let alone Islanders hockey. You guys really serve as an outlet for me. Very good. Hey, that's what we're here for.
Thanks, Pony Boy. Absolutely. Goon, Grumpy.
Is Son X doing squat thrusts in preparation for tomorrow night's podcast?
Him exercising would be a shock.
Pony Boy says, I know I goof around a lot in the chat sometimes, but I could be a jackass, but I truly appreciate the hard work to you, especially TJ. Sorry, Grump2. Absolutely. If it wasn't for TJ, there'd be no show.
Thank you, Pony Boy. Thank you. We appreciate it. Appreciate the kind words. So thank you. John D says here, do you guys do a fantasy hockey league? Yes, we will. It'll be through ESPN. We'll do one. The path of least resistance is another, Grumpy. I've heard the path of least resistance. Hold on, that's just like that's been a common phrase for years and years. Yeah. Tony Chi says, nah, it's just a teaser for a series of photographs. Let's just say that TJ's cats have been a part of history over the last century. Yes, they have. I'll say that. And here you go, Grumpy. A comment by Frank.
I don't know, Brian. End of the year, they were putting up 6 or 7 goals on the Leafs and the Devils, and they had some shocking wins. They tired out Sorokin, not playing Varley more, which is bad. Okay. No. They had a 500 record against against playoff teams, and they were really good against non-playoff teams. Yep. And those games meant nothing to Toronto. Absolutely nothing. That game they beat Toronto. Nothing.
And here Tony Cheese is Grumpy.
I got a photo of Islander fans in the desert for 40 years to send you, TJ.
Oh, God. Here you go. Fredo's another one.
No, I came up with Fredo.
The human ambient.
That was D-cut. Yep, that was D-cut.
Frank Grumpy.
Yeah, Pony. Yep, Grumpy Old Man and TJ, you guys do a great job. Hot thumbs up.
Oh, my God, Grumpy. Here's a good one. Look at this one. Tony Cheese just sent us here. The Islander fans. Look at this shit. You got you at the front, Grumpy. Obviously, there is Moses. We've got Otto back there stirring up
shit.
We've got me. We've got Son X. We've got Phil's Fiction, who's walking closely behind there, and then Drew all the way in the background there.
You know, I'm leading the pack. Phil's kind of going in a different direction. A loser. And where's Charlotte? We see Otto. I don't know. Otto's got his head on a stick. I don't like that.
No. He's just chilling back there, Grumpy. Look at that. There it is. We're wandering the desert looking for a Stanley Cup.
Very true. Very, very true.
Pacific Northwest. There's no sun out here. Lame is another one. There it is.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, but we don't. That one's not that great. 1 star. Oh shit.
1-star review. That's right, guys. Gonna make a meme soon there. Absolutely, buddy. Let us know there, Pony Curtis. Drew was in the desert. Yes, there it is. But Grumpy, we are here at the end of our show today. What do you want to say before we wrap things up?
I want to say love and laughter to everyone who listens, and even those who don't, from TJ and the Grumpy Old Man.
Thank you. So, and even little Charlotte, who's been, bothering us or bothering me on the show.
She's a regular member of the show now.
That's what it feels like. But thank you so much, everybody, for listening and watching the show here today. We'll be live with you guys this upcoming Wednesday. Nicole Sherman's going to be on. We're going to be talking NHL. We're going to be talking about the prospect pool. Yes, it's the 16th. It's going to be this Wednesday. Yes. So she's going to be on. We're going to be talking some Islanders prospects. We're going to be talking offseason. We're going to be talking about upcoming year. So thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. This Wednesday, we'll have Nicole on. She'll be at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tomorrow, we'll be live with TJ and the Grumpy Old Man, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can find that link in the description below as a featured page on our YouTube channel. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in, and thank you, Grumpy.
My pleasure.